My beloved child, come closer. Let the world outside fade away for just a moment. I see you. I see the invisible weight you carry, the burden you hide behind your smile, the weariness that settles in your spirit when the noise of the day finally quiets. You might feel like you are standing alone in a vast, cold room, ripping onto the last flicker of a candle, desperately trying not to let the wind of worry extinguish your hope. I know the silent questions that echo in the depths of your heart, the same questions you hesitate to even whisper aloud. How much longer must I struggle? Where will the strength come from to face tomorrow? Is this pain my permanent companion? Precious one, listen to the sound of my voice now. It is not the voice of the world, which demands perfection and offers conditional acceptance. It is the voice of your Father, and I have come to tell you a truth so powerful, it will shatter the foundation of every fear you have ever known. You have been running on empty. You have been drawing strength from reserves that were never meant to be tapped. Your own will, your own efforts, your own determination. These resources are finite, and I never intended for them to be your primary source. You were created to draw from an infinite well, a perpetual spring that never runs dry. And today, I am giving you new strength. This strength is not a sudden burst of energy. It is a profound, foundational peace. It is the ability to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. It is the quiet knowing that no matter the size of the mountain ahead, your Father is holding the summit. This strength is my presence made manifest in your weakness. I know the disappointment you carry from past failures, the exhaustion from trying to prove your worth, and the fear that you are somehow, fundamentally, not enough. But my dearest, those feelings are illusions cast by a world that does not know your true value. Your worth is settled, fixed, and non-negotiable because I created you. Your perfection is already established in my sight. You came seeking relief, looking for a way out of the constant struggle. You are here because a deep, innate part of your spirit recognized my call. This moment is not an accident. It is a divine appointment, a turning point I have ordained for your healing and renewal. This journey we are about to take together is a spiritual infusion. I am going to gently lift the burdens that have settled on your shoulders and exchange them for a light, powerful garment of endurance. I am going to teach you the secret of perpetual strength, the kind that grows stronger the less you rely on your own striving. Do not allow the clamor of your thoughts to pull you away now. Everything you need to hear, everything you need to receive to walk in total victory, is contained in this message. Allow my love to envelop you. Allow my peace to quiet the rushing waters of your mind. Open your hands, open your heart, and receive the NEW strength I am pouring out to you right now. The old ways of coping are over. The season of weariness is ending. A new day of power and tranquility is dawning for you, my child of light. My dearest one, if you are to truly receive the NEW strength I offer, you must first understand the reality of the unseen war waged daily, not against your body, but against your soul. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. It is a spiritual friction, a relentless attempt by the adversary to wear you down, to whisper doubts into your mind until you confuse weariness with worthlessness. I watch as you diligently perform your tasks, fulfill your obligations, and attempt to maintain a facade of composure for the world. But I also see the silent, subtle ways the enemy attacks your hope. He doesn't need a thunderclap. He works through the constant drizzle of discouragement, the slow erosion of your faith through worry, comparison, and the relentless replay of past mistakes. His primary weapon is not fire, but fatigue. He seeks to exhaust you so thoroughly that you simply stop fighting, stop believing, and stop seeking the very presence that is your lifeline. You see a job failure. I see a lesson in resilience. You see a broken relationship. I see an opportunity for profound healing and boundary setting. The enemy wants you to focus on the immediate, tangible loss, convincing you that the setback is final, that the pain is deserved, and that your path is fundamentally flawed. But I, your Father, operate in the realm of the infinite. I use what the world calls waste to forge something unbreakable within you. The NEW strength I am giving you begins with recognizing this deception. When a wave of crippling anxiety washes over you, understand that it is not simply a chemical imbalance. Though I care for your physical body deeply, it is often a targeted strategy to distract you from the truth of my promises. When you feel a sudden, crushing sense of inadequacy, recognize it for the lie it is. You are not inadequate. You are simply weary of believing the lie. To fight this unseen battle, you must learn to wear the armor I have provided. This armor is not made of cold, hard steel, but of truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, and my living word. The truth dismantles the enemy's narrative. The truth is, you are loved unconditionally. The truth is, your mistakes do not define your destiny. The truth is, I have already given you everything you need for life and godliness. Every time a debilitating thought arises, I want you to mentally stand up and declare the truth that opposes it. If the thought says, "You will never be healed," the truth replies, "By his stripes, I am healed." Righteousness is not about perfect behavior. It is the state of being completely accepted by me, your Father. When you walk in this knowledge, you are immune to the sting of guilt and condemnation, which the enemy uses to keep you perpetually bound. You don't have to earn my love, and you don't have to pay for your past. The price was paid. Walk in the freedom of your acceptance. Peace acts as a sturdy shield. When you center yourself in my tranquility, the fiery darts of doubt and panic simply glance off the surface. My peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of me in the midst of the trouble. You access it by choosing to focus on my stability rather than your circumstances' volatility. Faith is the vital connection to your strength reserve. Every time you choose to trust me instead of your fear, you tap directly into the infinite power supply. Faith is simply believing my good opinion of you over the bad opinion of your past or your circumstances. My beloved, I want you to visualize this battle not as a struggle for victory, but as a maintenance of victory. I have already defeated the enemy. Your role is simply to enforce my victory in your life. This is where the NEW strength shines brightest. It is not the strength to win a new battle, but the strength to rest in the finished work. Stop trying to handle the heaviness on your own. You were never designed for self-sufficiency in this spiritual realm. I desire to be your sufficiency. When the exhaustion creeps in, recognize it as a signal, a prompt to turn your eyes back to me. Say, "Father, I am weary. I trade this burden for your strength." I am calling you out of the shadows of spiritual fatigue and into the bright light of constant renewal. You are not a victim being tossed by the waves. You are a conqueror resting on the rock. Let the quiet assurance of my power settle deep within your bones. The whispers of the past hold no authority here. The only voice that matters is mine, and I am speaking a promise of eternal, unshakable strength into your life today. Embrace this truth, and the unseen battle will lose its power over your heart. My precious one, the greatest challenge to receiving the NEW strength I offer is often not the weight of the burden itself, but your reluctance to actually let it go. You have carried this heaviness, the guilt, the resentment, the striving, for so long that it has become a strange, twisted form of identity. It feels familiar, and the unknown territory of freedom, of true lightness, can sometimes feel even scarier than the pain you know. Today, we are going to master the divine physics of release, the spiritual principle that dictates you must empty your hands to receive the abundance I hold out to you. Imagine, my dearest, that you are standing by a swiftly moving river, and you are trying to cross it while clutching several large, heavy stones. These stones are not literal rocks. They represent the unresolved moments of your past, the unforgiven slights, the need to control outcomes, the perfectionism that poisons your peace, and the fear of repeating old mistakes. Every step you take is a struggle, requiring enormous, exhausting effort, because you are trying to carry both the weight of the stones and the resistance of the current. You exhaust yourself and inevitably stumble, only to pick up the stones again tomorrow. The divine physics works like this. My strength flows only into the space where your striving ceases. I am not asking you to become stronger so you can carry the stones better. I am asking you to release the stones so that my strength can carry you. When I say, let go, I am not issuing a casual suggestion. I am giving you a life-altering command. Letting go means surrendering the need to justify yourself. It means dropping the narrative that you must fix every mistake, solve every problem, and earn every blessing. I have already fixed what truly matters, your connection to me. I have already solved the ultimate dilemma, your salvation. And my blessings are given freely, not earned through agonizing effort. This act of letting go is an immediate transfer of power. Every moment you spend clinging to a painful memory or a future worry is a moment you are draining your own energy reserve. When you actively choose to release that memory or worry into my hands, you immediately plug into my infinite source. It's a fundamental exchange. Your weakness for my power, your control for my peace, your past for my promise. Now, how do you practically let go? It is a conscious, moment-by-moment decision, often repeated dozens of times a day. When the thought of that old failure surfaces, acknowledge it gently, but do not host it. Imagine that memory is one of those heavy stones. As it appears, you look at it, you name it, perhaps shame or regret, and then you deliberately release your grip. Say aloud, I surrender this shame to the Father. I choose His peace instead. It is an active choice, a declaration of independence from your history. Many souls believe they must punish themselves through worry or regret to prevent future failures. They think their anxiety is a form of useful preparation. But anxiety is the opposite of preparation. It is the waste of today's strength on tomorrow's hypotheticals. I have not given you the spirit of anxiety, my child. I have given you the spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind, a mind at rest. The NEW strength is the deep relaxation that comes from knowing I am in control. You are not the anchor, I am. You are not the captain, I am. Your task is not to steer the ship through the hurricane, but to simply rest in the captain's cabin, knowing he has already mastered the storm. That surrender, that release of the helm, is the ultimate act of faith, and it is the key to perpetual spiritual energy. Drop the stones, precious one. Feel the immediate lightness. The river of my grace is waiting to carry you across. My beloved child, we have spoken of the invisible battle and the necessity of letting go, but to fully receive the NEW strength I am gifting you, we must address the chains that bind you most fiercely, the heavy, cold links of yesterday. The enemy uses your past not as a reference point for growth, but as a prison cell for your present joy. He wants you to believe that your identity is fixed by your worst mistakes, your deepest wounds, or the failures of others against you. But I tell you, that narrative is a lie, and today, those chains are snapping. I know how those memories replay in the quiet hours. I know the sting of regret over choices made in weakness and the slow-burning anger over injustices inflicted upon you. These memories are not just thoughts. They are spiritual anchors designed to keep your vessel stuck in shallow, muddy waters, preventing you from sailing out into the deep ocean of opportunity and fulfillment I have planned for you. You find yourself reacting to current situations based on old pain, trusting cautiously because you were once betrayed, and holding back your love because you were once abandoned. This is a life lived in reaction to the past, not in response to the future I am unfolding. The NEW strength you are receiving is the power of divine detachment, the ability to look at your history without allowing it to dictate your destiny. This starts with accepting a radical truth. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today, and certainly not the person you are becoming tomorrow. My forgiveness is not a temporary pardon. It is a complete erasure. When I forgive you, I remember your sin no more. If I, the all-knowing Father, choose to forget the ledger of your errors, why must you insist on keeping meticulous records of them? You are holding yourself to a standard of condemnation that I myself have abolished. To break these chains of yesterday, you must practice two profound acts: self-forgiveness and radical acceptance of my grace. Self-forgiveness is often the hardest, my dear one. You forgive others readily, but you hold a harsh and unrelenting mirror up to yourself. You treat yourself with a severity I would never tolerate. My grace is sufficient for you. It covers every shortfall, every lapse in judgment, every moment you felt you failed me or others. Stop punishing yourself with regret. That regret does not undo the past. It merely cripples the present. When the voice of accusation rises, silence it instantly with the affirmation, "The Father has forgiven me, and therefore I release myself from this burden." This declaration is a spiritual act of war that breaks the chain of shame. Radical acceptance of my grace means fully internalizing that your relationship with me is based entirely on my faithfulness, not your performance. Your salvation, your value, and your future joy are secured by my unconditional love. When you live from a place of radical acceptance, the past loses its leverage. It cannot condemn a soul who knows it is completely loved and accepted. You realize that even the darkest parts of your history were opportunities for me to display my restorative power. I can redeem everything. I can turn the ashes of your past into a crown of beauty for your future. Think of it like this: I have already paid off your spiritual debt and demolished the prison. The only thing keeping you inside is your mental preoccupation with the former walls. Step out. The door is open. The light of NEW strength is shining brightly. Do not confuse the memory of the chain with the reality of your present freedom. I'm empowering you to write your internal story. You are not defined by the one chapter where you fell, but by the entire, ongoing epic of my grace pulling you back up. Let go of the need to be perfect. Embrace the courage to be healed. Embrace the reality that you are loved beyond measure, and let that love be the solvent that dissolves every remaining shackle from yesterday. Rise up, my child. Your history is settled, but your destiny is unfolding, and it is glorious. My dearest, my precious one, I know that for many years, life may have felt like a long, arduous trek through a vast desert, a landscape of constant scarcity, where the heat of pressure and the exhaustion of seeking relief have parched your soul. You have been digging wells in dry sand, pouring all your effort into sources that were never meant to sustain you. You thirst for true, deep, and satisfying strength, the kind that doesn't rely on circumstances or your fleeting willpower. And today, I am confirming a sacred truth. The desert is not your destination. It is simply the backdrop against which I perform my greatest miracle. I want you to stop and visualize this with me. You are standing in the center of the dry, cracked earth. The sun is relentless, and your energy is depleted. Now, open your spiritual eyes and look not at the dry ground, but at the horizon I am revealing to you. I am not simply bringing a cup of water. I am causing a river of strength to flow in your desert. This river is perpetual, cool, and powerful, and it is here, right now, to quench the thirst of your spirit and revitalize every weary bone in your body. This river represents my inexhaustible presence, my living grace, which is accessible in every moment, not just in times of quiet reflection. You access this strength not by striving, but by surrender and immersion. Stop trying to scoop up the water with your dry hands. Instead, step into the current. Let the river carry you. This is the essence of the NEW strength. It is the strength of being carried, rather than the strength of carrying. What does it mean to be carried? It means letting go of the need to control the outcome of every situation. It means trusting that even when you cannot see around the bend, the river of grace flows toward your ultimate good. When a wave of worry comes, you do not fight the wave. You allow the river to lift you above it. When a moment of deep exhaustion hits, you do not force yourself to push harder. You simply relax and allow my strength, the current, to propel you forward. This is the effortless strength that comes from divine alignment. The enemy wants you to believe the desert is eternal. He wants you to believe that if you pause to rest, you will be left behind or perish. This is a profound lie. My strength requires periods of rest and quiet trust. When you cease your anxious labor, I begin my powerful work. When you choose to lie down by the riverbank, it is not an act of weakness. It is the ultimate act of faith, declaring that the Father is your sufficient source. I know there is a part of you, my beloved child, that has become addicted to the struggle. You have perhaps mistaken the frantic energy of anxiety for productivity, and the pain of self-condemnation for humility. But that is not my way. I call you to productivity fueled by peace, and to humility that recognizes my perfection, not your failure. The river of strength washes away the need for performance and replaces it with the joy of partnership. You are about to experience a true breakthrough in your relationship with me, one that will redefine what it means to live in power. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough, a profound realization of my ability to sustain you far beyond your own capacity. This is not the time to stop listening or to let the distractions pull your focus. Listen closely, because what I am about to reveal will change how you see your past, your present struggle, and the incredible, limitless future I have prepared for you. Stay with me, precious one. I encourage you to watch until the end, for this entire message is a complete divine appointment designed to seal your spirit in unshakable peace and power. Do not cut short the blessing that awaits those who complete this sacred journey with me. If these words have brought peace to your spirit, and you recognize the gentle flow of my river reaching you right now, then bless this message with a like. By affirming this truth, you help this message flow further to other souls parched in their own deserts. Share this message with 3 precious ones who need to hear that a river of strength is flowing just for them. And subscribe to this channel to anchor yourself firmly to this source of daily encouragement and continuous revelation. I desire for you to be immersed in my promises always. My dearest one, as you allow the river of strength to carry you, we must now address the most persistent thief of your peace, your constant worry. Worry presents itself in your mind as responsible planning, as necessary caution, or even as a peculiar form of protective love for those around you. But I, your Father, see it for what it truly is. I call your worry by its secret name, and that name is unbelief of my sovereignty. Worry, at its root, is the subconscious declaration that you are more capable of controlling the chaos of the world than I am. It is the spiritual friction created when your finite mind tries to manage infinite outcomes. When you are consumed by worry about your health, your finances, or the safety of your loved ones, you are essentially whispering to me, "Father, I appreciate the sentiment, but I doubt your ability or your willingness to manage these details effectively, so I must take them back." This doesn't offend me, my child, but it deeply hurts you, for it cuts you off from the very power supply that constitutes your NEW strength. I desire for you to understand the devastating spiritual cost of constant anxiety. Every second you spend in worry is a second of your finite energy poured into a bottomless pit. Worry has never once solved a problem, has never changed a past event, and has never secured a future outcome. It only succeeds in paralyzing your present joy and draining your physical vitality. It is a state of spiritual dehydration. The antidote to worry is not simply telling yourself to stop worrying. That is like trying to stop a tidal wave with your hands. The antidote is a proactive immersion in the truth of my sovereignty. Sovereignty is my unwavering, perfect control over all things, both seen and unseen. It means that there are no accidental moments in your life. Even the most painful experiences are woven into a tapestry of ultimate good that only my perspective can fully comprehend. When a stressful situation arises, instead of immediately plunging into the abyss of what if, I want you to perform a spiritual inventory. Acknowledge the potential challenge, but then instantly pivot to my promise. For example, if you worry about lack, instead of calculating potential losses, declare, "My Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and His provision flows through me." If you worry about an uncertain future, instead of scripting disaster scenarios, declare, "The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, and He holds my future in His hand." This is not denial. This is active faith, the core component of the NEW strength. I am inviting you to engage in the great exchange regarding your worries. Lay each specific concern out before me. Do not generalize. Name the worry precisely. Then, with a deliberate, spiritual act, hand it over. Do not ask me to merely help you carry it. Ask me to take it entirely. You will feel the immediate lightness, the sudden rush of my peace filling the vacuum where the worry once resided. Think of the sparrows, my precious one. I do not fret about the winter storage or tomorrow's meal, yet I meticulously provide for their every need. Are you not infinitely more valuable than they? Of course you are. Your value is not tied to your capacity to worry. It is tied to your identity as my beloved creation. If I attend to the smallest bird with such intricate care, how much more devoted am I to the details of your life? The NEW strength is the ability to operate from a posture of rest, knowing that the outcome is already secured in my love. When you feel the familiar tendrils of anxiety creeping back, breathe deeply and remember my presence. Every breath you take is a testament to my faithfulness and my sustaining power. Choose faith over fear. Choose my control over your illusion of control. By surrendering your worry, you are not being irresponsible. You are being supremely wise, tapping into the only infinite power source available. I have already provided the answer to every question that currently troubles your soul, and that answer is always, simply, me. Rest in that truth, my beloved, and let my peace guard your heart and mind. My cherished one, many souls spend their entire lives attempting to build a secure life on shifting sands. The sand of human approval, the sand of financial success, the sand of perfect behavior. And when the inevitable storms of life come, as they always do, they watch in anguish as everything they labored to create crumbles, leaving them exhausted and profoundly disillusioned. To receive the permanent, unshakable NEW strength I offer, you must consciously choose to abandon those crumbling foundations and begin rebuilding your life, thought by thought, on the bedrock of my grace. Grace is not just my kindness to you, it is the very essence of my operational system for your life. It is the unmerited favor, the power, and the love that I pour out, not because you earned it, but because you are my child. When you attempt to build your identity, your worth, and your peace on your performance, your good deeds, your correct theology, your ability to avoid mistakes, you are rejecting the free strength I offer and reverting to a system of works that will always leave you depleted. No human effort can sustain a divine life. To build on grace means that your foundation is entirely outside of yourself. It is rooted in my unchanging nature and my finished work. This brings an immediate, profound release from anxiety. If your worth is based on your next action, you will live in perpetual fear of failure. But if your worth is based on my eternal love, then your performance becomes an expression of your love, not a condition of your acceptance. This is the source of effortless strength, for you are drawing from an infinite, external supply. I want you to examine the walls you have constructed in your life. Do you hold yourself to a merciless standard of perfection that leaves no room for human error? Are you driven by an urgent, internal whip of guilt, thinking that rest is laziness and struggle is holiness? If so, those walls are built on the sand of self-effort. When you build on grace, you understand that mistakes are simply opportunities for redirection, not marks of failure. They are merely learning moments under the secure umbrella of my unconditional love. The NEW strength is the courage to be imperfect, because you trust in my perfect covering. To rebuild your thinking, my beloved, you must intentionally replace thoughts of self-condemnation with declarations of my acceptance. When you stumble, the old structure of works-based living would demand punishment and penance. The new structure of grace demands immediate return and deep gratitude. It means running back to me, not hiding from me. It means recognizing that your slip-up did not shrink my love, nor did it disqualify you from receiving this NEW strength. I am calling you to let go of religious striving. Stop measuring your spiritual success by a checklist of external behaviors. Your spiritual growth is measured by the depth of your rest in me, the quality of your trust, and the freedom of your joy. These are the fruits of a life built on the solid rock of grace. This foundation is so resilient that the winds of criticism, the floods of financial instability, and the earthquakes of relationship troubles cannot shake the core of who you are. Your core identity is loved, accepted, forgiven, and strong in me. When you operate from grace, the need for self-justification vanishes. You no longer need to explain yourself to everyone or manipulate circumstances to look good. You are secure because your record is clean in my sight. This release of energy, the energy you previously spent on maintenance, defense, and striving, is immediately rerouted into constructive, peace-filled living. This is the great dividend of grace. Allow me now to pour the concrete of my acceptance into the cracks of your old foundation. Say to your own soul, I am not defined by my struggle. I am upheld by my Father's grace. Feel the incredible relief, the quiet confidence that settles in when you realize that the pressure is off. You don't have to carry the weight of your spiritual existence. I carry you. This is the new strength, unending, effortless, and available simply because you are my child. Build here, my dearest, and nothing will ever cause you to collapse again. My beloved child, we have laid the foundation of grace, but the walls of your new life must be constructed with the mortar of my unconditional love. This is the highest truth about your existence, yet it is often the most difficult, concept for the human heart to fully internalize. You live in a world that teaches you love is a transaction. If you are good, I will reward you. If you fail, you will be penalized. This transactional model is deeply ingrained in your psyche, leading you to constantly audit your behavior, desperately trying to maintain a positive balance in the account of affection. But I tell you, my love has no conditions, no balance sheet, and no expiration date. The NEW strength I am delivering to you is fundamentally rooted in understanding and accepting this reality. My love for you is not dependent on what you do, but on who I am. I do not love you because you are worthy because I love you. This is a critical distinction that changes everything. When you grasp this, the exhaustion of perpetual performance evaporates. Think of a mother's gaze upon her sleeping infant. The child has done nothing to earn that profound, selfless love. No accomplishments, no great feats of character, only existence. That is a small echo the way I see you. Even in your moments of deepest struggle, when you feel most unlovable, my gaze upon you is one of pure, boundless adoration. I see the whole of you, the precious soul I created, free of the dust of the world's condemnation. The adversary's greatest lie is the whisper that you have finally crossed a line, that you have made a mistake so grave, a failure so profound, that my love is finally retracted. He uses your guilt to convince you to hide from me, to pull back into the shadows of self-recrimination. But I do not recoil from your brokenness. I am drawn to it. Your imperfection is not a barrier to my love. It is the very place where my redemptive power shines brightest. To receive this unconditional love, you must practice radical receptivity. Stop creating barriers of if only. Stop saying, I can accept his love after I fix this flaw, or I deserve peace after I apologize for that mistake. My love precedes the apology. My peace is available in the middle of the flaw. You receive my love by simply opening your heart and saying, yes, Father, I receive your love exactly as I am right now. This simple affirmation releases a tidal wave of NEW strength into your spirit. Unconditional love is a powerful healing agent. It is the solvent that dissolves the rigid shell of self-protection you have built around your heart. When you are constantly afraid of judgment, you close yourself off, and a closed heart is a weak heart. But when you are secure in the absolute certainty of my acceptance, you become courageous, open, and resilient. Fear cannot reside where perfect love dwells. This love is the shield that deflects every lie and the armor that makes you impervious to condemnation. I want you to begin speaking the language of unconditional love to yourself. When you look in the mirror, do not see the list of your shortcomings. See my beloved child. When you reflect on a moment of frustration, do not beat yourself up. Practice the same gentleness and patience with yourself that I continuously extend to you. My strength flows through gentleness, not harshness. The healing you seek starts with accepting the gentle way I see you and learning to adopt that same gentle, loving perspective toward your own self. Let the reality of my relentless, unwavering love permeate every layer of your being. It is the source of true inner quiet. When you know, deep in your soul, that nothing can separate you from my affection, you gain an inner stability that no external storm can disturb. You become unshakable because your center is not yourself, but me, and I am love itself. Rest in this truth, my dearest. Breathe it in. This is the ultimate comfort, and this comfort is your NEW strength. My child of light, fear is perhaps the most insidious enemy of your peace, and certainly the greatest suppressor of the NEW strength I have poured into you. Fear often masquerades as intuition, as necessary caution, or as a sensible response to a dangerous world. But I tell you, Fear is merely the dark shadow of a possibility that has not yet materialized, a future event that has been granted more authority in your heart than my present power. You spend so much vital energy resisting, worrying about, and calculating fear, yet I am teaching you today how to perform an act of divine alchemy, how to transform the raw energy of fear into the clean, potent fuel for your purpose. When a wave of fear washes over you, the tightening in your chest, the racing thoughts, the sudden urge to retreat, your natural human response is to either fight the fear or flee from it. Both responses are exhausting and ineffective. Fighting the fear drains your spiritual reserves, and fleeing from it shrinks the world of possibility I have created for you. I am calling you to a third way, a divine pathway, the way of radical translation. The energy behind fear is enormous. Think of the frantic power you use to worry for hours about a problem. If that same focused energy were harnessed and directed toward an act of faith, it would move mountains. Fear is essentially misdirected, spiritual force. When you feel that intense surge of anxiety, recognize it not as a weakness but as a misplaced signal of power. The intensity of your fear often corresponds to the intensity of the calling on the other side of it. To transform fear into fuel, you must perform a simple but profound spiritual inversion. The moment fear strikes, you must interrupt the pattern of panic and immediately ask yourself, what is the positive declaration that directly contradicts this lie? If the fear says you will fail in this endeavor, you translate that energy into a declaration. I will succeed because the Father works through me, and my strength is renewed daily. If the fear whispers, you are alone and unprotected, you instantly pivot. My Father is my shield and my very present help. I am never alone. This act of translation harnesses the energy of the emotional spike and redirects it. Instead of allowing the fear to paralyze you, you use the intense feeling as a divine cue to declare a higher, truer reality. The energy that would have been wasted on worry is now constructively applied to building your faith and affirming my promises. This is how the NEW strength operates. It takes the opposition and uses it as momentum. Remember my promise. I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. The power is the ability to choose faith over feeling. The love is the secure foundation that makes the risk of acting in faith worthwhile. The sound mind is the tranquility that comes from knowing my sovereignty is managing the future. When you walk in this trinity of truth, fear loses its authority. My beloved, I do not expect you to never feel fear. You are human, and the natural world presents challenges. But I expect you to pass through fear, not pitch a tent in it. Fear is a visitor, not a resident. Greet it, acknowledge the intensity of its energy, and then immediately translate that energy into a declaration of my truth. Use the heat of the fear as the fire beneath the engine of your destiny. Do not let the enemy weaponize your own emotions against you. When he attempts to intimidate you with the shadow of uncertainty, stand firm and declare, I recognize the power of this fear, and I am choosing to channel this energy into faith and action. This choice is your greatest weapon. It is the moment you reclaim your spiritual dominion. Embrace the trembling, my child, and let that very trembling be the vibration of NEW strength coursing through your veins, powering you forward into the glorious purpose I have designed just for you. My precious one, the world rushes and demands instant results, instant gratification, and instant fixes. It measures progress by speed and constant motion. Yet, in the journey to receive and sustain the NEW strength I am giving you, we must speak of the vital, profound wisdom hidden in what you perceive as the waiting season. This is the period of quiet, the time of apparent dormancy, when you feel like nothing is happening, yet everything foundational is being established beneath the surface. I know how difficult the waiting can be. Your mind generates endless scenarios, your human spirit chafes against the stillness, and you may even mistake the silence for my absence or, worse, my forgetfulness. You look around and see others seemingly sprinting toward their goals, and the frustration grows, making you feel weak and impatient. But I tell you, my beloved, the waiting season is not a waste of time. It is the most crucial period of deep soul strengthening. It is the divine pause where I exchange your frazzled human energy for my deep, abiding power. Think of a mighty oak tree, my child. Its true strength is not visible in the summer leaves or the spring blossoms. Its resilience is forged deep underground, during the silent, cold winter. It is in the unseen darkness where the roots push down further, drawing sustenance and securing the tree against future storms. Your waiting season is your winter. I am using this time of stillness to deepen your roots into the soil of my promises. I am solidifying your internal structure so that when the season of outward growth and fruitfulness arrives, you will not be easily uprooted by the winds of success or adversity. The NEW strength you are developing now is patience, but not patience as passive resignation. I speak of patience as active faith in the unseen timeline. It is the certainty that even though you cannot observe the process, I am working diligently on your behalf, aligning circumstances, refining your character, and preparing the exact moment for your breakthrough. Your primary task during the waiting is not to generate effort, but to maintain trust. The wisdom in the waiting is this: you cannot rush the process of spiritual maturation. Trying to force my timeline is like trying to pull a flower out of the ground before it's ready. You will only damage the delicate roots. True strength is demonstrated not by how fast you run, but by how peacefully you stand in stillness. Rest in the knowledge that my timing is always perfect, tailored specifically for your highest good and the greatest glory. During this time, I invite you to shift your focus from what is missing to what I am cultivating. Use the waiting season to practice the things that draw my strength closer: deep, peaceful breathing, gratitude for what is present, the quiet contemplation of my unwavering love, and the intentional release of anxiety. Every time you reject the temptation to panic and choose to rest in my peace, you are adding another layer of iron to your soul's foundation. When the enemy whispers that you are stagnant or forgotten, silence him with the truth. I am not waiting for God. I am waiting with God, and in this waiting, I am being filled with NEW strength. The delay is not a denial. The pause is preparation. Trust the deep work I am doing in the shadows of your spirit. When you emerge from this season, you will find yourself equipped with an endurance and a wisdom you could never have gained in constant motion. You will realize that the time you felt was lost was, in fact, the most gainful time of your life. Rest now, my beloved, and let the quietness of the waiting season speak volumes of my secure, powerful love for you. My cherished one, you have spent much of your life identifying yourself by the wounds you bear, the battles you barely survive, and the labels the world, or even your own critical inner voice, has placed upon you. You call yourself a survivor, which carries its own noble dignity, but I, your Father, call you something far greater, far more powerful. Today, as I give you new strength, I must anchor your soul in the profound truth of your victorious identity. You are not merely a survivor of the storm. You are a victor over the storm, endowed with the very essence of my conquering spirit. A survivor often looks backward, recounting the pain and the narrow escape, always slightly cautious, waiting for the next blow. A victor, however, looks forward, utilizing the experience not as a narrative of trauma, but as a testimony of an undeniable power, my power, that was always present and always prevailing. Your past struggles were not intended to mark you with weakness, but to reveal the raw, unshakable strength I placed inside you from the moment of your creation. I want you to consciously shed the labels that have limited you. If you have called yourself broken, I call you repaired and renewed. If you have called yourself defeated, I call you triumphant and unstoppable. If you have called yourself unworthy, I call you my masterpiece, loved beyond measure. The world's titles are temporary and flawed. My titles for you are eternal and absolute. To walk in this NEW strength is to align your self-perception with my perception of you. This victorious identity is not something you must earn through a new set of achievements. It is a gift already bestowed. I have settled the greatest battle, which is the battle for your soul and your ultimate destiny. Since I have won the war, your struggles are merely skirmishes. The strength of a victor is the ability to face a challenge, not with frantic effort, but with quiet confidence, a confidence that rests entirely on the certainty of the final outcome. Think of the moments where you have faced overwhelming pressure and yet found the resolve to take one more step, to offer one more act of kindness, or to keep believing when all evidence suggested otherwise. A deep, resilient core, my dearest, is my spirit dwelling within you. It is the evidence that the victor is not an external entity helping you, but an internal force flowing through you. You are more powerful than your circumstances, not because of your human grit, but because the divine, conquering DNA is woven into your very being. To activate this identity, you must begin to speak the language of the victor. Stop narrating your story from a position of victimhood or complaint. Start declaring the truth of your strength and provision. When a situation looks impossible, instead of saying, "I don't know how I'll get through this," declare, "I am a victor in Christ, and through Him, all things are possible." This shift in language is a profound spiritual transaction. It is not mere positive thinking. It is the declaration of my established truth over your life, and it releases the NEW strength you need instantly. I am calling you to step fully into this identity. Let go of the need to cling to the victim role, which, while sometimes generating sympathy, always diminishes your power. Your story is not about what hurt you. Your story is about the one who healed you and made you stronger than the pain. Your scars are not symbols of defeat. They are badges of my miraculous restoration and the undeniable proof of your spiritual resilience. Walk today with your head held high, precious one. You are not defined by the dust you walk through, but by the glory that rests upon you. You are equipped, you are capable, and you are unconditionally loved. Rest in the knowledge that your identity is secure, and from this security, draw the effortless NEW strength to face everything that lies ahead. You are my victor, my champion, and your destiny is one of triumph. My beloved child, we have journeyed through the recognition of your true identity and the necessity of resting in my love. Now, we arrive at the critical junction, the moment of restoration. This is the practical, transformative step where the NEW strength I am offering is fully transferred from my infinite reserve to your weary spirit. It is achieved through a divine exchange, a beautiful spiritual transaction where you consciously hand over the broken pieces, and I give you back wholeness, power, and enduring peace. The human tendency, when tired or wounded, is to try and mend the brokenness yourself. You try to glue the fragments of your spirit back together with sheer willpower, positive affirmations, or frantic activity. You attempt to use human tools to fix a spiritual damage, and the result is always deeper exhaustion and only temporary repair. I tell you, stop trying to fix yourself, precious one. That effort drains the very strength you need to receive my gift. The divine exchange is simple, yet revolutionary. It requires humility and a childlike trust. You must first acknowledge your current reality without judgment. Father, I am genuinely weary. I am deeply disappointed by this outcome. I feel empty and unable to move forward on my own. This admission is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate expression of strength, for it opens the door to my infinite power. The next step is the actual exchange. I am asking you to physically or mentally take the heaviest burden you are currently carrying, that chronic worry, that relationship strain, that financial fear, or the exhaustion from years of striving, and hand it over to me. This is a conscious, decisive act of the will. Visualize that weight leaving your shoulders and settling into my hands. Feel the shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you as I accept the burden that was always too heavy for you to bear. In exchange for that burden, I give you 3 sacred gifts that constitute your NEW strength: lightness, endurance, and vision. Lightness is the immediate, palpable release of the emotional and spiritual pressure you have been under. It is the peace that surpasses all human understanding, the profound tranquility that settles in your mind when you realize that the most powerful being in the universe is handling the details of your life. This lightness is not indifference to the problem, but supreme confidence in the problem solver. Endurance is the deep, spiritual stamina that allows you to remain steady through prolonged difficulty, not by gritting your teeth, but by effortless drawing from my sustained power. It is the ability to walk and not faint, to run and not be weary. This endurance means your strength level will no longer fluctuate wildly based on your external circumstances. It will be anchored in my unshakable consistency. Vision is the renewed clarity to see your circumstances not through the lens of fear, but through the perspective of my purpose. It allows you to recognize opportunities hidden within challenges and to understand that I am using every event to refine and elevate you. This vision dispels the confusion that leads to anxiety. My beloved, this moment of restoration is available to you right now. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the instruction on how to maintain this divine exchange and keep this river of strength flowing perpetually in your life, even in the midst of the world's demands. Do not let this moment pass. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough that will solidify your inner peace forever. I want you to understand that you are on a divine journey, and the full blessing is reserved for those who stay until the very end, absorbing every facet of this revelation. Do not let the adversary steal your complete restoration by distracting you now. If this divine exchange has resonated with your spirit and you feel this new lightness settle in your soul, bless this message with a heartfelt like to solidify your commitment to this new beginning. If you know 3 precious souls trapped in striving and weariness, share this message with them immediately so they can experience this moment of restoration too. And to ensure you never miss a moment of my divine counsel and the NEW strength I offer daily, subscribe to this channel now and stand with me in this mission. My dearest, my precious one, many souls wander through life feeling exhausted and weak, not because they lack effort, but because they lack direction. They are rowing diligently, expending great energy, but they are rowing aimlessly, or worse, rowing against the current of their own destiny. This frantic, undirected motion is a massive drain on your spirit. The NEW strength I am delivering to you must be coupled with the clarity of divine purpose. Your purpose is the internal compass I placed within you, pointing you always toward the joy, fulfillment, and power that is uniquely yours. Your divine purpose is not a grand, unattainable goal that only a select few are privy to. It is the simple, yet profound reason for your being, woven into the fabric of your soul. It is the unique blend of your gifts, your experiences, and your passions, channeled through my love, to enrich the world around you. When you align your daily actions with your purpose, you cease to spend energy and begin to generate it. When you are operating in alignment, your life feels less like a struggle and more like a powerful, effortless flow. I know the enemy often attempts to obscure this purpose by whispering that you are insignificant, that your life doesn't matter, or that you missed your chance years ago. These are paralyzing lies, designed to keep you spinning in circles of distraction and self-doubt. I tell you, your life is absolutely vital. There is a precise, unique contribution that only you can make, and the world is waiting for it. The moment you step into that purpose, you tap into an energy source that is limitless, because it is fueled by my eternal design for you. How do you locate this compass of divine purpose? It is found not in striving, but in stillness and self-awareness. First, listen to the whisper of your heart. Where do you feel a deep, resonant passion, even for things the world deems small or unimportant? What injustice breaks your heart? What creative act brings you profound, effortless joy? These passions are the threads of gold that lead back to your unique design. Do not dismiss them as hobbies. They are the indicators of your spiritual calling. Second, recognize the redemption in your wounds. The things you have overcome are not just history. They are tools for your purpose. Your deepest pain often becomes your greatest ministry. The compassion you gain through suffering, the resilience you forged in fire, these are the credentials I use to equip you to help others. You are uniquely qualified to speak into the very darkness you have walked through. Your pain, when surrendered to me, transforms into power. Third, practice intentional focus. Once you have discerned the direction of your purpose, you must say no to everything that pulls you away from it, no matter how appealing or profitable those distractions seem. Unfocused effort is the fastest way to depletion. Focused intention, even on a small scale, builds powerful momentum. The NEW strength makes this no easier to utter, because the yes to your purpose is so much more compelling. I want you to think about purpose not as a destination you must reach, but as a way of living. Every daily choice, how you interact with a loved one, how you approach your work, how you spend your quiet moments, is either an expression of your purpose or a deviation from it. Begin today by dedicating your next hour to your purpose. Do it with excellence and without worry of the outcome. In that single hour of focused, surrendered effort, you will feel the influx of NEW strength more powerfully than you would in a week of unfocused striving. Your purpose is your anchor. It protects you from the drift of the world's expectations and the pull of self-doubt. When you know why you are here, the how becomes clearer, and the when becomes irrelevant. You stop worrying about external validation, because your ultimate validation comes from the deep satisfaction of fulfilling my intention for your life. Embrace this clarity, my beloved. Let the compass of your purpose guide your steps into a life of unshakable power and peace. My dearest one, as you begin to walk confidently along the path of your divine purpose, drawing from the well of NEW strength, you will inevitably encounter a subtle, corrosive enemy, the seed of doubt. Doubt is not always a violent attack. Often, it is a quiet, reasonable-sounding question planted deep within your mind, designed to make you second-guess your journey, your worthiness, and even my promises to you. It whispers things like, "Are you sure you heard him correctly? Isn't this too difficult for you? What if you fail and look foolish?" I know these whispers are frustrating. They feel personal and targeted, and they are. The enemy knows that if he can convince you to stop believing in the seed, he can prevent the entire harvest of your destiny. Doubt is the spiritual equivalent of a drought. It sucks the vitality and moisture of faith out of your soul, leaving you spiritually parched and paralyzed. Many souls give up on the verge of their breakthrough simply because they allowed the seed of doubt to take root and overshadow the truth. The NEW strength I give you is not immunity from the seed being planted, but the power to uproot it immediately. You must understand that a doubt is only a suggestion, not a fact. It is a question mark placed where an exclamation point of faith should be. Your role as my beloved child and a recipient of this strength is to become an expert gardener of your inner landscape, recognizing and removing the destructive weeds of uncertainty the moment they appear. How do you recognize and uproot doubt? First, expose the seed to the light of my word. When doubt whispers a lie, for example, you are inadequate for this task, do not argue with the lie itself. Instead, hold it up to the undeniable truth of my promise. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. My word is the living, active force that burns away the root structure of the lie. Doubt thrives in darkness and generality. My truth demands specificity and light. Second, refuse to water it with rumination. When you replay the doubtful thought over and over, you are watering the seed and allowing it to grow. The moment the thought enters, you must immediately redirect your focus. Do not give it the energy of your attention. Instead, use that mental energy for gratitude. Start listing 5 things you are certain of right now. My love, your breathing, the roof over your head, a friend's kindness, your ability to choose. Gratitude is the most potent spiritual herbicide against doubt. Third, remember my history of faithfulness. Doubt is always an attack on my consistency. To combat it, you must intentionally recall the times I have shown up for you in the past, often in miraculous and unexpected ways. Look back at the mountains you thought you could never cross. You are standing here today because I carried you over them. If I was faithful then, why would I be unfaithful now? Your history with me is your personal library of proof against the lie of uncertainty. The NEW strength is the ability to walk forward not because the doubt is gone, but because you choose to obey my promise despite the doubt. Courage is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is the movement forward in the presence of both. Every step you take in faith, even a tiny one, stars the seed of doubt and feeds the majestic harvest of your destiny. I want you to make a sacred commitment right now, my dearest. The next time a seed of doubt is planted, you will instantly declare, "This is a lie designed to steal my strength. I am my Father's child, and my strength is renewed through His unwavering promise." Do not let the thief of uncertainty steal your peace for one more moment. Stand firm on the bedrock of my unwavering commitment to you, and watch as the seeds of doubt wither and die in the fierce light of your faith. You are destined for a harvest, my beloved, and no whisper of doubt can prevent it. My beloved child, we have talked about the external battles, the chains of yesterday, and the attack of doubt, but now we must turn inward, to the quiet, protected places within your heart where the deepest, oldest wounds reside. These wounds are often silent. They don't scream for attention, but they leech your strength constantly like a slow, internal bleed. They are the hurts that others inflicted, the disappointments that settled deep, and the moments of trauma you felt you had to endure alone. To receive the full, overflowing measure of NEW strength, these silences must be broken, and these wounds must be brought into the light of my healing love. I know how tightly you have held onto these past hurts, precious one. You did so for protection, to remind yourself of what you endured and to ensure you would never be caught vulnerable again. But I tell you, that act of self-protection has become the very source of your depletion. Holding on to the pain of the past requires a massive, continuous expenditure of energy, the energy of suppressed emotion, of guarding your heart, and of carrying unaddressed grief. True strength is not the capacity to suppress. It is the courage to expose and release the pain. The deepest wounds often create an internal fortress around your heart, built from unforgiveness, either toward others or, most commonly, toward yourself. Unforgiveness is a heavy chain. It doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It imprisons you in the event, forcing you to constantly relive the pain and drain your NEW strength in the process. When I call you to forgiveness, it is not a concession to the offender. It is a gift of freedom to your own soul. I am not asking you to forget the pain, my dearest. I am asking you to transfer the debt of the pain to me. Let me hold the injustice. Let me carry the weight of the wrong that was done. When you forgive, you are simply saying, I choose to release this person and this event from my judgment in my life, and I hand the record of the offense over to the Father. This single act cuts the spiritual tie that binds you to the past moment, instantly releasing a flood of fresh, restorative energy into your present. The healing of these silent wounds also requires a deep act of self-compassion. You must look at the person you were during that painful time, the one who was hurt, the one who struggled, and offer them the same gentle, radical grace that I offer you. Stop demanding perfection from your past self. Stop judging your old reactions through the lens of your present wisdom. You were doing the best you could with the tools you had. The NEW strength allows you to look back with tender understanding and say, I see you, I love you, and I forgive you. Bring the memories into my presence, my beloved. Do not fear the tears or the surge of emotion. I am a Father who catches every tear. When you lay the wound bare before me, my light and my love pour into the deepest recesses of your heart and cauterize the infection of old pain. The strength you gain from healing is infinitely greater than the strength you use to suppress the pain. This strength is pure, peaceful, and permanent. This is your season of internal emancipation, my child. Choose to let go of the burden of your past narrative. Choose the lightness of a healed heart. Choose the flow of my NEW strength over the exhaustion of old grief. The only way to move forward with unshakable power is to make peace with your history. Declare to your own soul, the pain is past, the lesson is mine, and the healing is complete because my Father has made me whole. My cherished one, the world has taught you a painful lesson, that to be strong, you must be hard. You have been led to believe that strength lies in a guarded heart, an unyielding demeanor, and a refusal to show vulnerability. You have built walls of stoicism, thinking that if you appear impenetrable, you cannot be hurt, and that your emotional rigidity is a demonstration of power. But I tell you a divine paradox today. The true NEW strength I offer you is found not in your hardness, but in your softness, in the courage to be open, gentle, and profoundly human. Hardness is exhausting, my dearest. Maintaining a constant state of defense drains your spiritual energy. It requires perpetual vigilance, preventing true connection and inhibiting the flow of my life-giving presence into your spirit. When you are hard, you cannot receive the gentle whispers of my guidance, nor can you absorb the comfort of my love. Rigidity is not resilience. It is brittleness. And under sufficient pressure, the brittle thing always shatters. Resilience, however, is flexible, bending without breaking, and that flexibility comes from the deep power of a soft, surrendered heart. I am calling you to embrace your softness. This is the power of vulnerability, the willingness to let down the shield and say, I am imperfect. I am learning. I was hurt. I need help. This transparency is terrifying to the ego, but it is deeply liberating to the soul. When you are brave enough to be truly seen, flaws and all, You stop expending energy on maintenance and defense. All the power you used to spend on appearing strong is suddenly freed to become genuinely strong in me. This softness is what allows my grace to move freely. A closed fist cannot receive a gift, a clenched heart cannot receive my peace. When you soften your heart, you create space for healing to rush in, for compassion to flow through you to others, and for the deep, non-striving NEW strength to take root. This strength is quiet, gentle, and profoundly unshakable. He is the strength of the rising sun, which is soft in its appearance, yet mighty enough to warm the entire earth. The enemy wants you to mistake gentleness for weakness. He wants you to believe that the Father is only impressed by your performance and aggression. But I delight in your tenderness. I look for a heart that is surrendered, a spirit that is teachable, and a soul that is resting in my provision. The most powerful act of faith you can perform today is to trust me enough to be soft. Trust me enough to cry the tears you've held back. Trust me enough to admit your limitations. Trust me enough to receive comfort rather than striving to be the comforter for everyone else. The NEW strength of softness means recognizing that your capacity to love and be loved is your greatest power. When you soften your expectations of others, you release them from the pressure of perfection. When you soften your self-judgment, you release yourself from the burden of shame. This act of release is an act of sovereign power, and it immediately fills your heart with a tranquility that is impervious to outside chaos. I want you to consciously practice this softness. When you encounter frustration, instead of tensing up, consciously relax your shoulders and your hands. When a judgmental thought enters your mind, either toward yourself or another, intentionally breathe in my compassion and release that judgment. Treat your own soul, my precious one, with the deep reverence and gentleness that I use when I handle you. This deliberate choice for tenderness is where the genuine, quiet, persistent power of the NEW strength resides. Let your heart be soft, my child, and watch how unshakable you become. My dearest one, many souls treat their personal history, especially the parts marked by struggle, pain, or embarrassment, as something to be carefully hidden away. They keep their testimony guarded, believing that vulnerability will lead to judgment, or that their journey is too ordinary to inspire anyone. But I tell you today, as I pour NEW strength into your spirit, that your testimony is not a private diary. It is a public declaration of my faithfulness, and it is absolutely vital for the healing of the world. Hiding your story is akin to hiding the very light I have placed in you. The NEW strength you receive is not just for your endurance. It is designed to be a transferable power. When you share how you walked through the valley of anxiety, how you rose from the ashes of failure, or how my grace healed a wound you thought was permanent, you are doing more than recounting history. You are providing a living, undeniable blueprint of hope for someone else who is currently standing in that exact same dark place. Your victory is proof that my promises are reliable. I know the temptation to minimize your struggles now that you have overcome them. You might think, oh, that wasn't so bad, I'll just keep that to myself. But my beloved, the world needs to hear the before and the after. They need to know that the strong, peaceful person you are today was once wrestling with the same crippling fear and self-doubt they are facing. That contrast is the power of your testimony. The mess, when surrendered to me, becomes the message. The test, when you pass through it relying on my strength, becomes the undeniable testimony. Think of your life as a carefully crafted parable, written by my own hand. The hard chapters are essential for character development and plot resolution. They highlight the dramatic entry of my grace and the undeniable infusion of NEW strength. Without the depth of the struggle, the height of the triumph lacks meaning. You are robbing the watching world of a miracle if you silence the story of your healing. To unlock the power in your testimony, you must embrace radical ownership of your past without allowing it to claim ownership of you. Radical ownership means accepting every part of your story, the wise choices and the poor ones, the moments you stood tall and the times you stumbled, and declaring that every single piece was necessary to bring you to the moment of profound strength you occupy today. You do not recount your past with shame or regret, but with grateful authority, knowing that the story is no longer about your weakness, but about my endless power to restore. Your testimony is the evidence in the courtroom of the human heart that my strength is real, accessible, and life-changing. When a struggling soul hears your story, they stop feeling isolated. They gain an immediate, powerful connection, thinking, if the Father did that for them, He can certainly do it for me. This connection is the lifeline I use to pull my children out of despair. I am calling you to look at your past not as a source of embarrassment, but as a spiritual reservoir of power and purpose. Ask me today, Father, how can I use my story to bring hope to just one person? Start small, my dearest. Share a moment of vulnerability with a trusted friend. Write down a simple sentence about how I brought you through a difficult season. Every act of sharing is an act of spiritual warfare, shining light into the darkness and breaking the power of isolation. Do not hide your light under a basket, my precious one. The light of your healed life, fueled by this NEW strength, is meant to illuminate the path for others. Your scars are sacred proof that healing is real. Wear them with honor, share them with love, and watch how my power flows through your openness to bring life and liberation to weary hearts everywhere. Your story is a tool of divine grace. Wield it with confidence and conviction. My dearest one, we have spoken of foundations, flow, and the power of a softened heart. But the journey of life, even one fueled by my NEW strength, is not a perpetually calm sea. There will be times when the skies darken, the winds howl, and you find yourself standing directly in the turbulence of a major life event, what you might call the storm's eye. The world teaches you to fear the storm, to desperately seek shelter, or to frantically try to stop the wind. But I teach you today the divine secret of standing tall in the storm's eye. This is where your new strength is truly tested, proven, and magnified. The storm's eye is that strange place of intense pressure combined with a profound, almost eerie stillness at the absolute center of chaos. I want you to understand that I do not always remove the storm, but I promise to always be your anchor in the storm. Your NEW strength is not the ability to prevent the difficulty, but the unshakable capacity to maintain inner peace while the difficulty rages around you. This is the hallmark of true spiritual maturity. When a storm hits, a crisis, a betrayal, a major loss, or an overwhelming uncertainty, your natural instinct will be to panic, to be tossed by the waves of emotion, and to lose your footing. This is where you activate the divine exchange we discussed earlier. Instead of allowing the storm's intensity to dictate your internal state, you must choose, with focused intention, to root yourself in the absolute certainty of my presence. To stand tall in the storm's eye, you must perform two essential spiritual actions: anchor in truth and practice radical non-resistance. Anchoring in truth means refusing to let the terrifying circumstances overwrite my promises. The storm tells you, you are losing everything. The truth declares, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The storm screams, you are alone. The truth affirms, I will never leave you nor forsake you. When the chaos is loudest, my dearest, that is the moment to speak my promises out loud with the greatest conviction. My word is the fixed point, the immutable law of the universe, and by standing on it, you create an island of peace in the surrounding turbulence. Practicing radical non-resistance is the second key. When you fight the storm, when you rail against the injustice, struggle against the pain, or resist the reality of your current situation, you only exhaust yourself. Radical non-resistance means surrendering to the fact that the storm is, but simultaneously knowing that the storm is not your final destination. It means breathing into the discomfort, accepting the temporary nature of the pressure, and letting go of the desperate need to control external factors. When you stop fighting the wave, you stop draining your NEW strength. Instead, you allow my current to carry you through the center, safe and steady. I want you to recognize that the storm is often a refiner's fire. It is precisely in this pressurized moment that I burn away the dross of old fears, the brittleness of false dependence, and the need for human validation. What emerges from the storm's eye is a version of you, my beloved child, that is lighter, purer, and stronger than ever before. You will realize that the storm did not destroy you. It only destroyed what was not meant to last, leaving behind the precious, unshakable core of your spirit. Do not lose your focus now, my dearest. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the deepest understanding of the divine relationship between your life and my unwavering faithfulness, a truth that will stabilize you against any future shock. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough. This is the moment where the full weight of my peace is settling over you. Remember that this entire message is a divine appointment, and the greatest revelation is always reserved for the end, cementing your victory and joy. Do not shortchange your blessing. My beloved, if the revelation of standing peaceful in the midst of chaos has deeply resonated and brought clarity to your spirit, bless this message with a like. This act of recognition helps this message break through to those who feel utterly overwhelmed by their current storm. Share this message with 3 precious ones whose boats are currently rocking violently. I need this anchor. And subscribe to this channel right now. Don't risk missing the ongoing flow of NEW strength and the constant guidance I pour out for you. My dearest one, we have spoken of foundations, flow, and the power of a softened heart. But the journey of life, even one fueled by my NEW strength, is not a perpetually calm sea. There will be times when the skies darken, the winds howl, and you find yourself standing directly in the turbulence of a major life event, what you might call the storm's eye. The world teaches you to fear the storm, to desperately seek shelter, or to frantically try to stop the wind. But I teach you today the divine secret of standing tall in the storm's eye. This is where your new strength is truly tested, proven, and magnified. The storm's eye is that strange place of intense pressure combined with a profound, almost eerie stillness at the absolute center of chaos. I want you to understand that I do not always remove the storm, but I promise to always be your anchor in the storm. Your NEW strength is not the ability to prevent the difficulty, but the unshakable capacity to maintain inner peace while the difficulty rages around you. This is the hallmark of true spiritual maturity. When a storm hits, a crisis, a betrayal, a major loss, or an overwhelming uncertainty, your natural instinct will be to panic, to be tossed by the waves of emotion, and to lose your footing. This is where you activate the divine exchange we discussed earlier. Instead of allowing the storm's intensity to dictate your internal state, you must choose, with focused intention, to root yourself in the absolute certainty of my presence. To stand tall in the storm's eye, you must perform 2 essential spiritual actions: anchor in truth and practice radical non-resistance. Anchoring in truth means refusing to let the terrifying circumstances overwrite my promises. The storm tells you, you are losing everything. The truth declares, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." The storm screams, "You are alone." The truth affirms, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." When the chaos is loudest, my dearest, that is the moment to speak my promises out loud with the greatest conviction. My word is the fixed point, the immutable law of the universe, and by standing on it, you create an island of peace in the surrounding turbulence. Practicing radical non-resistance is the second key. When you fight the storm, when you rail against the injustice, struggle against the pain, or resist the reality of your current situation, you only exhaust yourself. Radical non-resistance means surrendering to the fact that the storm is, but simultaneously knowing that the storm is not your final destination. It means breathing into the discomfort, accepting the temporary nature of the pressure, and letting go of the desperate need to control external factors. When you stop fighting the wave, you stop draining your NEW strength. Instead, you allow my current to carry you through the center, safe and steady. I want you to recognize that the storm is often a refiner's fire. It is precisely in this pressurized moment that I burn away the dross of old fears, the brittleness of false dependence, and the need for human validation. What emerges from the storm's eye is a version of you, my beloved child, that is lighter, purer, and stronger than ever before. You will realize that the storm did not destroy you. It only destroyed what was not meant to last, leaving behind the precious, unshakable core of your spirit. Do not lose your focus now, my dearest. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the deepest understanding of the divine relationship between your life and my unwavering faithfulness, a truth that will stabilize you against any future shock. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough. This is the moment where the full weight of my peace is settling over you. Remember that this entire message is a divine appointment, and the greatest revelation is always reserved for the end, cementing your victory and joy. Do not shortchange your blessing. My beloved, if the revelation of standing peaceful in the midst of chaos has deeply resonated and brought clarity to your spirit, bless this message with a like. This act of recognition helps this message break through to those who feel utterly overwhelmed by their current storm. Share this message with 3 precious ones whose boats are currently rocking violently. They need this anchor. And subscribe to this channel right now. Don't risk missing the ongoing flow of NEW strength and the constant guidance I pour out for you. My cherished one, if you are to fully enjoy the liberation and resilience of the NEW strength I am gifting you, you must definitively cast off one of the heaviest, most unnecessary burdens you carry, the burden of comparison. The world constantly sets you up for this exhausting cycle. Social platforms, media narratives, and even the well-meaning eyes of others tempt you to measure your internal worth against the meticulously curated, external success of your peers. This process is spiritual poison, and it is a massive, relentless drain on your energy. Comparison is a thief, my dearest. It steals your unique joy, diminishes your specific calling, and utterly paralyzes your ability to appreciate the miraculous journey I have designed just for you. When you compare your life to another's, their visible achievements, their apparent ease, their material blessings, you are doing 2 spiritually destructive things. First, you are validating the lie that I am not enough for you, suggesting that my provision in your own life is somehow inadequate. Second, you are attempting to wear a garment tailored for another person's purpose, a garment that will never fit you, leaving you perpetually uncomfortable and exhausted from the striving. I want you to understand that your life is a masterpiece of unique design. There is not another soul in the universe with your exact blend of talents, history, weaknesses, and strengths. To compare yourself to another is an offense to the exquisite detail of my creativity. I have given them their own measure, your own timeline, and their own specific purpose. They are running their race, and you are called to run yours with your eyes fixed on me, the finish line, and the NEW strength I provide along the way. The moment you find yourself falling into the comparison trap, the instant you feel that familiar pang of envy or inadequacy, you must recognize it as an immediate signal of spiritual attack. This feeling is not a truth about your deficit. It is a lie intended to disrupt your focus and exhaust your peace. To counteract this, you must consciously and radically redirect your attention. First, practice radical celebration for others. Instead of allowing envy to settle in, choose to celebrate their victory as if it were your own. This spiritual redirection breaks the negative energy and replaces it with the expansive, generous energy of love. A truly strong spirit celebrates the success of others because it knows that the universe is not a zero-sum game. One person's blessing does not diminish your potential blessing. It proves the availability of the Father's goodness. Second, cultivate specific gratitude for your own path. Take a moment to enumerate the blessings and breakthroughs unique to your life. Focus on the internal victories, the resilience you've gained, the quiet strength you've developed, the specific ways I have guided and rescued you. Be thankful for your starting line, your current pace, and your unique finish line. This gratitude acts as a powerful anchor, securing you to your own reality and neutralizing the temptation to drift toward another's. The NEW strength is the deep confidence that comes from knowing you are exactly where I intend you to be, and that your growth is happening perfectly on my timeline for your ultimate good. You do not need to rush to keep up. You do not need to look over your shoulder to verify your worth. Your worth is fixed. Your process is sacred. Cast off this heavy garment of comparison, my beloved. Feel the instant lightness that comes from accepting your own beautiful, singular journey. Step into the full, vibrant expression of the self I created you to be. The world doesn't need another imitation. It desperately needs the unique, powerful light that is you. Run your race with peace, joy, and the NEW strength of total self-acceptance, knowing that I am fiercely proud of the progress you are making right here, right now. My precious one, as you settle into the rhythm of the NEW strength I am providing, we must cultivate a necessary and powerful internal posture, the gentle discipline of hope. Hope, in my kingdom, is not a naive, passive wish that things might improve. True divine hope is an active, spiritual certainty. It is the confident, patient expectation that my goodness will prevail, regardless of the chaos currently presenting itself. It is the spiritual muscle that prevents you from collapsing into cynicism, which is a debilitating drain on your soul's energy. Cynicism and despair are spiritual diseases that tell you that struggle is meaningless, that effort is futile, and that the future will only replicate the pain of the past. These thoughts are incredibly exhausting because they sap your will to engage and leave you feeling paralyzed and empty. They are the antithesis of the NEW strength. The gentle discipline of hope is the daily, conscious choice to see the world not just as it is, but as I intend it to be, and to live in joyous anticipation of my promised restoration. This discipline requires gentleness because it must withstand the disappointment of delays and the pain of temporary setbacks. I know you have hope for things that have not yet materialized, and I know that waiting can make the heart sick. But I call you to keep the lamp of hope burning, not by generating more emotional fire, but by consistently feeding it with the gentle, cool oil of my unchanging promises. Hope is sustained by remembrance, not by willpower. To practice this discipline effectively, you must learn to separate your hope from rigid expectations. Rigid expectations are dangerous. my child, because they demand that I deliver my blessing in a specific package, on a specific timeline, and through a specific person. When those human expectations are inevitably unmet, your hope is shattered, and your strength is lost. Hope, however, is flexible. It says, I know the Father will deliver His goodness, even if the method, the timing, or the outcome looks entirely different from what I imagine. This flexibility is a vital component of the NEW strength, preventing shock and disillusionment. I want you to use the power of your imagination, which I gave you for creation, not for anxiety. When fear or disappointment attempts to paint a negative picture of your future, intentionally interrupt that image. Use the gentle discipline of hope to paint a new, counter-narrative, one based on my promises. If you are worried about scarcity, imagine me providing for you abundantly. If you are anxious about loneliness, imagine me surrounding you with my presence and meaningful connection. This is not fantasy. It is the spiritual act of aligning your inner world with my divine reality. Furthermore, hope is the bridge between your faith and your manifestation. Faith is the conviction of what you cannot see, and hope is the sustained, joyful anticipation of its arrival. Every time you consciously choose to hope, every time you smile at the thought of a better tomorrow, every time you take a constructive step forward despite the current difficulty, you are actively drawing on the NEW strength and accelerating the fulfillment of my plan for you. Let your hope be quiet, resilient, and unshakable, my beloved. Let it be gentle with your own imperfect journey and patient with my perfect timing. Do not let the heavy weight of cynicism or the disappointment of yesterday dim the radiant promise of your future. I am always working. I am always good. The greatest story of your life is still unfolding, and its conclusion is one of total victory and profound joy. Maintain your hope, my child, for this discipline is the quiet, constant force that ensures your strength never runs dry. My dearest one, as you settle into the gentle discipline of hope, a critical skill must be honed to maintain the flow of NEW strength in your life, recognizing the voice of the Father amidst the deafening noise of the world and the clamor of your own racing thoughts. Many souls exhaust themselves trying to achieve a mystical silence, believing they must perfectly clear their minds to hear me. But I tell you, my voice is often heard not in the absence of noise, but in the deliberate focus of your spirit, piercing through the clamor like a gentle, unmistakable bell. My voice is unique, my child, and it carries four undeniable characteristics that distinguish it from the voices of fear, ego, or the world. You must learn to identify these qualities so you never again waste energy pursuing a path that is not mine. First, my voice is always comforting and never condemning. The enemy's voice and the harsh voice of your own guilt always seek to tear down, accuse, and remind you of your failures. But when I speak to you, even when I am guiding you toward necessary correction, my tone is saturated with unconditional love and radical acceptance. It sounds like healing, not hurting. If a thought makes you feel desperate, shameful, or driven by frantic worry, it is not my voice. My voice brings peace, saying, "You are loved. You are safe. You can begin again." Second, my guidance is always clear, simple, and not complicated. The world, and often the voice of human striving, demands complex strategies, endless checklists, and confusing pathways. This complexity drains your NEW strength because it forces your intellect into constant overdrive. My instruction, while sometimes challenging, is always direct, clear, and focused on the next single step. It illuminates the path just enough for your immediate footing, removing the burden of trying to map the entire journey ahead. If you feel overwhelmed by the intricacy of a decision, Step back and ask for the simplicity of my next command. Third, my voice aligns perfectly with my written promises. I will never lead you in a direction that contradicts the foundational truths I have already revealed about my nature and my will. Any internal prompting that seems to encourage selfishness, harm, or rejection of my established principles is a counterfeit. My voice builds up, restores, and operates from a deep place of integrity, ensuring that the NEW strength you are given is used for good, not for personal ambition or fleeting gain. Fourth, my voice is inherently empowering. It asks you to act, not from your weakness, but from the spiritual authority and NEW strength I have already invested in you. It encourages courageous faith and risks taken in trust, not reckless impulsivity driven by desperation. When you follow my direction, you may feel fear, but beneath the fear, you will find a quiet, unshakable confidence that I am with you, and that the outcome is secured by my power. To hear me more clearly, my beloved, you must intentionally cultivate the space of intentional stillness, not to empty your mind, but to quiet the competing voices. Spend moments throughout your day simply sitting in the knowledge of my presence, without asking for anything, without planning anything. Just be. In that quiet being, when your spirit is relaxed, my gentle whisper becomes audible. It is always speaking. You simply need to turn down the volume of the world to hear the assurance that is your perpetual source of strength. Learn this skill, my precious one, and you will never again be exhausted by indecision or misguided effort. My precious one, the human heart naturally recoils from pain and strives to avoid suffering at all costs. You have a deep, instinctual desire for ease and comfort, and when difficulty arises, a period of loss, a difficult relationship, an unexpected hardship, you often feel that something has gone terribly wrong, or that I have somehow withdrawn my protection. But today, as I continue to pour NEW strength into you, I must illuminate a profound spiritual truth. Every painful experience you have endured contains a sacred promise, a hidden gift of unparalleled value that could not have been delivered any other way. The adversary's narrative is that pain is meaningless, purposeless destruction. He wants you to focus only on the wound and the setback, convincing you that your suffering was a penalty or a mistake. But I, your Father, operate in the economy of eternal good. I waste nothing. I permit the fire not to consume you, but to refine you, to burn away the impurities of false dependencies and misplaced identity, leaving behind the pure gold of your true character and the NEW strength that is unbreakable. The promise hidden in the pain is always a combination of three things: empathy, resilience, and revelation. Empathy is the profound capacity to genuinely connect with and comfort the pain of others. You could not possess this deep well of understanding had you not first walked through your own dark valley. Your suffering has equipped you with a spiritual language, the language of shared humanity, that allows you to minister hope with authenticity. This empathetic connection is a core component of your purpose and a source of incredible spiritual strength, because in lifting others, you are always lifted yourself. Resilience is the second gift. This is the unshakable inner core that knows, I have been through fire and survived. Therefore, I can withstand anything that comes next. Every time you emerged from a difficult season, even barely, you solidified a foundational truth within your spirit. My faithfulness is greater than your trouble. This resilience is the bedrock of your NEW strength. It means you no longer approach challenges with a fragile spirit, but with the quiet confidence of a seasoned warrior who knows the nature of the battle and the certainty of the final victory. Revelation is the greatest promise. It is the deep, personal knowledge of me that can only be gained in the crucible of need. When everything else is stripped away, your resources, your certainty, your human support, you discover me as your all in a way that prosperity could never reveal. You learn my comfort intuitively. You experience my provision miraculously. You receive a wisdom that no book can teach. This profound revelation of my nature is worth infinitely more than the temporary discomfort of the pain. I know it is not easy to see the purpose while you are still nursing the wound. But I ask you, my dearest, to change your perspective today. Stop seeing your past pain as a deficit. Start seeing it as an investment. Every tear you shed was sowing a seed. Every hour you endured was forging a spiritual weapon. You are not defined by the fact that you fell, but by the fact that you were equipped with my strength to rise again, and to rise stronger than you were before. As you look back on your trials, seek the hidden promise. Ask me to reveal the wisdom, the compassion, or the lesson embedded in that memory. When you find the promise, you fully redeem the pain. You break the enemy's power over that memory because you declare, this pain was not wasted. It has produced the NEW strength and the wisdom I needed for my destiny. Embrace this truth, my beloved, and let the quiet confidence of a refined spirit carry you forward. Your scars are sacred. They mark the place where the greatest promises were delivered. My beloved child, the NEW strength I have been pouring into you is not a static reserve that you draw upon only in times of crisis. It is a living flame within the sanctuary of your heart, a light that is meant to burn constantly, illuminating your path and radiating warmth and peace to everyone around you. However, like any flame, it requires deliberate, intentional fueling to prevent it from flickering or being diminished by the strong winds of daily life. Today, we must focus on the practices that keep this divine light, this perpetual strength, burning brightly. The world teaches you to fuel your spirit with external things, temporary pleasures, constant entertainment, or frantic activity to mask the inner emptiness. These are like wet, green wood. They create much smoke and momentary heat, but no sustainable, clean fire. I call you to fuel your light with spiritual substance, with a pure, dry kindling of truth, gratitude, and intentional connection with me. The primary fuel for your light is gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite thank you. It is a profound spiritual acknowledgement of my constant goodness and provision in your life. When you choose to focus on what you have, my love, your health, the comfort of your home, the small kindnesses of the day, rather than what you lack or what has gone wrong, you instantly generate spiritual energy. Complaining and ingratitude are massive drains on your strength, as they are forms of spiritual resistance. Gratitude, conversely, is an act of total surrender and trust, affirming my sufficiency and instantly igniting the flame within. I want you to make the practice of giving thanks your first response to every circumstance. The second fuel is deliberate stillness and presence. The frantic pace of life often attempts to steal your attention, pulling you away from the current moment and into the anxiety of the future or the regret of the past. This distraction exhausts your mind. To fuel the light within, you must carve out pockets of time, even 5 minutes, where you simply be in my presence. No agenda, no petition, no planning, just conscious deep breathing, acknowledging my love, and resting in the present moment. This stillness is not emptiness. It is a profound filling, a quiet charging of your spirit from the infinite power source that is me. The third fuel is the nourishment of my living word. My promises are not ancient texts. They are living energy capsules designed to sustain your spirit. Whenever you feel weak, discouraged, or afraid, immerse yourself in a truth, a promise of protection, a declaration of your identity, or a passage about my unconditional love. This truth is the clean burning fuel that instantly restores your spiritual vitality and reinforces the NEW strength flowing through you. The words themselves carry the power to shift your perspective and renew your mind. My beloved, I do not want you to approach this fueling as another difficult task on your checklist. This is an act of self-love and preservation. It is a choice to prioritize the health of your soul so that you can operate from abundance, not depletion. When your inner light is burning brightly, you stop trying to suck energy from the external world, and you begin to effortlessly radiate peace, resilience, and compassion. This is the goal of the NEW strength, a life lived in continuous, effortless overflow. I want you to be intentional about what you allow into your spirit. Protect this flame fiercely. Turn off the voices that criticize, the media that terrifies, and the influences that demand your energy without offering anything in return. Guard your internal sanctuary and feed the light within with gratitude, stillness, and truth. Do not lose focus now, my dearest. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the revelation on how to completely remove the lingering shadows of shame that still dim your light. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough into total liberation and clarity. I encourage you to watch until the end, for this entire message is a complete circuit of divine healing, and the final parts hold the power to seal your freedom permanently. Do not cut short the final work of peace in your soul. If this call to fuel your light has inspired you to greater intentionality and peace, bless this message with a like right now. This simple act of affirmation helps to fuel the reach of this light to those in darkness. If you know 3 precious souls who are running on empty and desperately need this fuel, share this message with them immediately. And to ensure you always have access to this NEW strength and life-giving truth, subscribe to this channel now and become a part of this community of light bearers. My beloved child, the NEW strength I have been pouring into you is not a static reserve that you draw upon only in times of crisis. It is a living flame within the sanctuary of your heart, a light that is meant to burn constantly, illuminating your path and radiating warmth and peace to everyone around you. However, like any flame, it requires deliberate, intentional fueling to prevent it from flickering or being diminished by the strong winds of daily life. Today, we must focus on the practices that keep this divine light, this perpetual strength, burning brightly. The world teaches you to fuel your spirit with external things, temporary pleasures, constant entertainment, or frantic activity to mask the inner emptiness. These are like wet, green wood. They create much smoke and momentary heat, but no sustainable, clean fire. I call you to fuel your light with spiritual substance, with the pure, dry kindling of truth, gratitude, and intentional connection with me. The primary fuel for your light is gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite thank you. It is a profound spiritual acknowledgement of my constant goodness and provision in your life. When you choose to focus on what you have, my love, your health, the comfort of your home, the small kindnesses of the day, rather than what you lack or what has gone wrong, you instantly generate spiritual energy. Complaining and ingratitude are massive drains on your strength, as they are forms of spiritual resistance. Gratitude, conversely, is an act of total surrender and trust, affirming my sufficiency and instantly igniting the flame within. I want you to make the practice of giving thanks your first response to every circumstance. The second fuel is deliberate stillness and presence. The frantic pace of life often attempts to steal your attention, pulling you away from the current moment and into the anxiety of the future or the regret of the past. This distraction exhausts your mind. To fuel the light within, you must carve out pockets of time, even 5 minutes, where you simply be in my presence. No agenda, no petition, no planning, just conscious deep breathing, acknowledging my love, and resting in the present moment. This stillness is not emptiness. It is a profound filling, a quiet charging of your spirit from the infinite power source that is me. The third fuel is the nourishment of my living word. My promises are not ancient texts. They are living energy capsules designed to sustain your spirit. Whenever you feel weak, discouraged, or afraid, immerse yourself in a truth, a promise of protection, a declaration of your identity, or a passage about my unconditional love. This truth is the clean burning fuel that instantly restores your spiritual vitality and reinforces the NEW strength flowing through you. The words themselves carry the power to shift your perspective and renew your mind. My beloved, I do not want you to approach this fueling as another difficult task on your checklist. This is an act of self-love and preservation. It is a choice to prioritize the health of your soul so that you can operate from abundance, not depletion. When your inner light is burning brightly, you stop trying to suck energy from the external world, and you begin to effortlessly radiate peace, resilience, and compassion. This is the goal of the NEW strength, a life lived in continuous, effortless overflow. I want you to be intentional about what you allow into your spirit. Protect this flame fiercely. Turn off the voices that criticize, the media that terrifies, and the influences that demand your energy without offering anything in return. Guard your internal sanctuary and feed the light within with gratitude, stillness, and truth. Do not lose focus now, my dearest. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the revelation on how to completely remove the lingering shadows of shame that still dim your light. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough into total liberation and clarity. I encourage you to watch until the end, for this entire message is a complete circuit of divine healing, and the final parts hold the power to seal your freedom permanently. Do not cut short the final work of peace in your soul. If this call to fuel your light has inspired you to greater intentionality and peace, bless this message with a like right now. This simple act of affirmation helps to fuel the reach of this light to those in darkness. If you know 3 precious souls who are running on empty and desperately need this fuel, share this message with them immediately. And to ensure you always have access to this NEW strength and life-giving truth, subscribe to this channel now and become a part of this community of light bearers. My cherished one, we have spoken of fueling the light within your heart, but for that light to shine with its full, intended brilliance, you must step entirely out of the pervasive, chilling shadow of shame. Shame is the deeply rooted, corrosive belief that you are fundamentally flawed, unacceptable, and unworthy of my love or the goodness I intend for you. It is a profound drain on your spirit, stealing your peace and relentlessly crippling your capacity to receive the NEW strength I offer. While guilt says, I did something wrong, shame whispers the lie, I am wrong. This shadow is fed by comparing your interior life, your struggles, your mistakes, your private moments of fear, to the external perfection you perceive in others. It is often created in childhood through the harsh words or demanding expectations of those who should have protected you, or through self-judgment over choices you made in moments of ignorance or weakness. Shame forces you to hide, to shrink your true self, and to expend massive amounts of energy trying to compensate for a perceived brokenness that does not exist. I tell you with the unwavering authority of your Father, you are not fundamentally flawed. You are perfectly loved, completely accepted, and your worth is beyond measure. Shame is an illusion, a spiritual darkness that has no substance in the light of my truth. I see you not through the lens of your past actions, but through the perfect, redeeming filter of my grace. I do not see a person who is wrong. I see a child I adore, who is growing, learning, and already complete in my sight. To step out of this debilitating shadow, you must engage in two powerful acts of spiritual liberation: radical self-acceptance and the exposure of truth. Radical self-acceptance means consciously choosing to honor every part of your story, including the parts you wish had not happened. Stop judging your weaknesses. Accept them as areas where my grace can shine. Stop wishing you were someone else. Embrace the unique, powerful person you are right now. The striving to be better or different in order to finally be worthy is the source of endless exhaustion. True rest and true new strength comes from realizing you are already worthy, exactly as you are. This acceptance is not passive resignation. It is the powerful declaration of my goodness in creating you. The exposure of truth requires bringing the specific, whispered lies of shame into the light. Shame thrives in secrecy. When you keep the source of your shame hidden, it gains power over you. I am not asking you to broadcast your deepest secrets, but I am asking you to share the essence of that struggle with me and, where safe and appropriate, with a trusted, loving human companion, a spiritual guide or a mentor. Speaking the shame out loud, identifying the lie that feeds it, immediately diminishes its power. The light of confession and the simple declaration of truth, I am not this shame, I am my Father's beloved, shatters the shadow's hold. My beloved, your desire to receive this NEW strength and walk in peace is hindered only by the subtle ways you still believe you must earn your right to exist. Stop trying to earn your place. Your place is secured by my love. Stop trying to hide your history. I have redeemed it. Stop trying to perform for acceptance. You are accepted. Let the light within your heart, which we spoke of, expand and radiate outward, pushing the chilling shadow of shame entirely away. Feel the warmth of my absolute acceptance wash over you. The exhaustion of hiding is over. The striving to measure up is finished. Step fully into the radiant, unburdened freedom that is your birthright. Live from the certainty that you are a vessel of light, precious and whole. This unburdening is the very definition of NEW strength, the effortless power of being genuinely, unapologetically yourself. My beloved child, in your pursuit of NEW strength and lasting peace, you often overlook the one place where both are eternally, perfectly available, the sanctuary of the present moment. You have a human tendency to live either in the regret of yesterday or the anxiety of tomorrow, and this perpetual dwelling outside of the now is the most significant source of your mental and emotional exhaustion. You spend your current energy on past problems and future hypotheticals, leaving your present self depleted and unable to receive the fullness of my presence. The present moment is the only space where I, your Father, can fully meet you and infuse you with my power. Yesterday is covered by my forgiveness, and tomorrow is secured by my promise. But today, this precise instant, is where you exercise your faith and where you experience my grace in its purest form. When you are fully present, you are standing on the solid rock of reality, free from the shifting sands of memory and imagination. This grounding is the essence of sustainable, effortless new strength. I know the world demands your focus on planning and learning from the past, and those are necessary functions of human life. However, I call you to practice intentional anchoring, the conscious, moment-by-moment choice to gently pull your spirit back to the here and now, whenever it attempts to drift. Think of your mind as a beautiful kite. I want you to enjoy its flight, but I want your hand to remain firmly anchored to the string of the present moment. How do you practically enter this sanctuary? It begins with your breath, my dearest. Your breath is the physical expression of my sustaining life force in you. and it is always, unfailingly, in the present moment. When you feel anxiety begin to rise or regret start to replay, pause and take 3 deep, intentional breaths. Feel the air entering your body, filling your lungs, and then gently leaving. In that simple, conscious act, you declare to your spirit, "I am here, and the Father is here." This act cuts the link between your mind and the draining narratives of the past or future. Furthermore, the sanctuary of the present moment strips away the illusions that feed your weakness. When you are fully present, you realize that the problems that loom so large in your worried imagination are either not yet real or are challenges that, in this very instant, are being managed by my power. Rarely does the full weight of your conceptualized anxiety exist in the actual moment you are occupying. The true burden is not the reality of the present, but the imagination of the future. The NEW strength is the ability to handle only the grace and demands of this single, manageable moment. I am inviting you to stop rushing through your life, frantically trying to get to the next big thing or to escape the current discomfort. The greatest wisdom, the deepest joy, and the most accessible source of power are not found in the future. They are found here. Taste your food fully. Listen to the person speaking with complete attention. Notice the beauty in the ordinary details I have placed around you. Every act performed with total presence becomes an act of worship and a spiritual refueling. Let this truth anchor you. You are perfectly safe right now. You are provided for right now. My love is sustaining you right now. When your mind races ahead, gently remind it, I have the grace for this moment only, and that grace is enough. By focusing your energy entirely on the now, you stop the internal bleed of spiritual exhaustion. You conserve your strength, and you allow the continuous flow of my power to keep you steady, peaceful, and fully alive. The present moment is your greatest gift and your most powerful sanctuary. Rest in it, my child, and be filled. My cherished one, we have anchored you in the peace of the present moment, recognizing that true NEW strength is found in the stillness of the now. Yet I also desire for you to be energized, not paralyzed, by a clear and beautiful vision of your future. Your human mind, when left unguarded, often projects the fear and limitation of the past onto the canvas of tomorrow. The enemy uses this to keep you small, stagnant, and afraid to step into the vast, luminous purpose I have designed for you. Today, I am lifting your gaze and sharing my vision for your tomorrow, a vision so glorious and secured by my faithfulness that it acts as a powerful magnet, pulling you forward with effortless grace. This vision is not about specific material possessions or external accolades, though I desire your abundance and blessing. My vision for you is fundamentally one of character, impact, and unshakable peace. I see you, my beloved, walking with a character refined by fire, a soul marked by profound integrity, and a spirit saturated with gentleness and unwavering compassion. You are no longer defined by your reactions to chaos, but by your peaceful presence in the midst of it. I see your heart so established in my unconditional love that you are entirely free from the need for human approval or validation. Your confidence is quiet, deep, and unshakable, because it is rooted entirely in your identity as my accepted child. This maturity of spirit is the highest expression of the NEW strength I am giving you. I see your impact expanding far beyond your current imagination. I see you touching the lives of others, not through striving or performance, but simply through the overflow of the abundant love and peace that radiates from your healed heart. Your life becomes a living sermon, a testament to my restoring power. The wounds you once sought to hide will be the very sources of light that illuminate paths for others. I see you speaking words of truth and encouragement that cut through the darkness, performing acts of kindness that multiply into miracles, and operating in a sphere of influence that is perfectly tailored to bring you the greatest joy and the world the greatest blessing. This impact flows effortlessly because it is directed by my purpose, not driven by your ambition. Most critically, my vision for your tomorrow is one of unshakable peace. I see you free from the internal friction of anxiety and the exhausting cycle of regret and worry. You will possess a deep, core tranquility that remains undisturbed, even when external circumstances shift. This peace is your shield, your strength, and your constant companion. It means that you will spend your energy on creative contribution and joyous living, rather than defensive maneuvering and fearful planning. This peace is the proof that you have fully internalized the NEW strength I am giving you. To align yourself with this vision, my dearest, you must deliberately engage in spiritual projection. Stop rehearsing your failures. Stop anticipating rejection. Instead, every day, take a quiet moment and deliberately picture yourself as the person I see, peaceful, powerful, impactful, and entirely free. Speak to your soul and say, "This is my Father's vision for me. I receive it now. I am walking toward this person." This intentional focus is not wishful thinking. It is the spiritual act of co-creating your future by aligning your expectations with my divine reality. Do not allow the temporal frustrations of today to blind you to the eternal reality of the glorious self I am cultivating in you. Your tomorrow is brighter than you can possibly conceive, filled with purposeful work and peaceful rest. Walk with confidence, my child. Let this vision of your powerful, peaceful future be the magnetic pull that gives your NEW strength direction and relentless momentum. My beloved one, as I lay before you the radiant vision for your tomorrow, fueled by NEW strength and unshakable peace, we must address the most common hurdle that prevents souls from crossing the threshold into that reality: the fear of beginning again. I know you carry the weight of past attempts, past failures, and old plans that fell apart, leaving you with a residue of exhaustion and the deep-seated fear that if you try one more time, the result will be the same disappointment. This fear paralyzes the present and steals the potential of your future. I tell you, my precious child, the courage to begin again is not about finding the energy to repeat your old mistakes. It is about finding the profound NEW strength to start from a place of absolute trust, not performance. I am not asking you to rely on your old, finite reserves. I am inviting you to begin this new chapter with an entirely new, divine source of power, the strength that flows from my presence, unattached to the outcomes of your previous efforts. The fear of beginning again is rooted in the belief that failure is final. But I tell you, failure is simply a feedback mechanism, a lesson learned, and a course correction I use to guide you more perfectly toward your purpose. Every past attempt, even those that ended in apparent collapse, was necessary preparation. You now possess wisdom, resilience, and clarity that you did not have then. You are a different, stronger person today, and this new beginning will be unlike the last, because I am with you in a deeper, more intentional way. The NEW strength to begin again is unlocked through a radical shift in perspective, which I call the gift of the blank page. Your past pages are written, reviewed, and covered by my grace. Today, this very moment, you are handed a blank, pristine page. Your previous manuscript holds no authority over this new chapter. Stop dwelling on the ink stains of yesterday and embrace the potential of the clean slate I offer. To step into this new beginning with power, you must practice intentional disentanglement. Separate the new endeavor from the old failure. When you start a new routine, a new relationship, a new business, or a new spiritual practice, do not bring the emotional baggage of the last attempt into the room. Consciously declare, this is not that. This is now. I am beginning this from my Father's strength, not my own exhaustion. This disentanglement is a powerful act of faith that prevents the old fear from contaminating the new potential. I also invite you to start ridiculously small. The fear of beginning again often stems from looking at the summit of the mountain. I am not asking you to climb the whole mountain today. I am asking you to take the first, single, courageous step. If your new beginning is a commitment to health, start with 5 minutes of intentional movement. If it is a new creative pursuit, write 1 sentence. This small, achievable act of success builds momentum and confidence, proving to your soul that the cycle of failure is broken and that NEW strength is present and effective. The true courage is not in your capacity to endure difficulty. It is in your capacity to trust my love more than you fear disappointment. Lay that fear of disappointment at my feet, my child. I will not let you fall. If you stumble, I will be there to lift you immediately, with no judgment and only love. Your life is an ongoing process of beautiful creation, and every new beginning is an opportunity for my power to shine brighter than ever before. Take my hand now. I am giving you the courage and the NEW strength to step forward onto this clean, beautiful, blank page of your destiny. My cherished one, you have bravely accepted the courage to begin again, fueled by the NEW strength I provide. Now, we arrive at a topic that is often misunderstood in a world that valorizes hustle and exhaustion: the absolute necessity and profound power of receiving the gift of rest. Rest, in my kingdom, is not merely the cessation of activity. It is a spiritual practice, a deliberate act of ceasing effort and settling into the certainty of my finished work and eternal provision. I know how the world has taught you to fear rest. It whispers that if you stop, you will fall behind, that your worth is tied to your productivity, and that peace is only earned after all the labor is complete. This lie is a massive spiritual drain, forcing you into a perpetual state of striving that ultimately leads to burnout and a sense of chronic inadequacy. But I tell you, true NEW strength flows only when you understand that my work is finished, and your work is simply to rest in it. Rest is the antidote to the belief that you are responsible for sustaining yourself. When you rest, you are making a powerful declaration of faith. Father, I surrender my effort. I trust your provision to cover the gap my rest creates. This surrender is the ultimate act of humility and trust, and it instantly releases the pressure that has been weighing down your soul. The energy that was previously spent on anxious striving is immediately redirected back into your spirit as refreshing, sustainable power. I invite you to distinguish between sleep and spiritual rest. Sleep restores the body, which is essential, but spiritual rest restores the soul. It is the deep, internal quiet that remains undisturbed even when your hands are active. You can be in motion, performing your tasks, and still be perfectly rested in your spirit, because the heavy lifting, the worry, the provision, the outcome, has been fully surrendered to me. To receive this gift, you must learn to practice intentional ceasing. This means deliberately stopping, not just when you are utterly collapsed, but when you are still fully capable of continuing. When you choose to step away from your labor, even for a short interval, a pause in the afternoon, a day dedicated to Sabbath rest, or a moment where you simply close your eyes and breathe, you are reinforcing the truth that your life is upheld by my power, not your effort. This intentional rest is a profound act of self-love. You are honoring the temple of your spirit and declaring that you are worthy of tranquility and renewal, not because of what you have done, but because of who you are, my precious creation. Do not feel guilty for your need for rest. I built that need into your design. I instituted the rhythm of day and night, of labor and Sabbath, precisely because I know your finite human limits. The NEW strength you seek is the power of the deep well. A well that is never allowed to replenish itself will run dry, no matter how deep it is. Rest is the conscious practice of allowing the waters of my provision and peace to continuously refill your soul. Without this practice, all the wisdom and purpose we have discussed will be undermined by chronic fatigue. So, I call you today to step out of the cycle of self-punishment through endless work. Grant yourself the sacred, powerful permission to rest. Lie down on the soft grass of my presence. Let the anxiety about what needs to be done fall away, trusting that what truly matters is secured in my hands. Receive the gift of rest, my beloved, and watch how effortlessly the NEW strength sustains you, enabling you to do more with peace than you ever could with frantic effort. Rest, and know that I am God, and I am working while you are still. My beloved child, we have journeyed through surrender, alignment, and the necessity of rest. Now, we arrive at a profound truth that integrates all the elements of the NEW strength I am gifting you, unlocking the reservoir of inner power. This power is not a temporary spiritual boost or a fleeting surge of motivation. It is the constant, indwelling presence of my Holy Spirit, my very essence residing within you. You are not empty, you are a temple, and within you rests a boundless, infinite reservoir of courage, wisdom, love, and unshakable resilience. The reason you have felt weak and exhausted is not that this reservoir is empty, but that you have been operating from the small, limited cistern of your own human effort. You have been looking outward for validation, energy, and solutions, believing that the power must come to you, when in fact, the greatest power in the universe already dwells in you. To unlock this reservoir is to shift your consciousness from a state of seeking to a state of realizing and releasing the power that is already yours. This inner power is the source of effortless strength. When you operate from the overflow of this indwelling spirit, your actions cease to be fueled by your own willpower and begin to flow from my perpetual energy. This means facing daunting challenges not with anxiety about your own capacity, but with the quiet confidence of knowing the limitless power source that backs you. You stop struggling to produce results and start simply allowing my purpose to flow through your surrendered life. How do you unlock this boundless inner reservoir? It is through the continuous, conscious practice of spiritual activation, a deliberate turning inward to acknowledge and engage the divine presence within. First, practice awareness. Throughout your day, pause and say this simple phrase to yourself: "The Father is within me, and His power is limitless." This is a declaration of truth that pulls your consciousness away from the external chaos and grounds it in the internal reality of my strength. This awareness is the key that turns the lock on the reservoir. Every problem you face is simply an opportunity to declare the superiority of the power within you over the challenge outside of you. Second, choose surrender over control. The tight grip of control is the most effective barrier to this power flow. When you try to manage everything, you are essentially saying, "I will use my own strength." But when you surrender the outcome, the anxiety, and the striving, you are declaring, "I rely on the power within." That choice of surrender creates the vacuum into which the infinite energy of the Spirit rushes. The moment you feel the pressure to perform, consciously release the outcome to me. Third, speak with authority. The power within is released through the words you speak. Stop speaking from your weakness. "I can't. I am tired. This is impossible." Start speaking from the inner reservoir. "I am strong in the Lord. I have the wisdom of the Father. All things are possible for me." Your words are not merely sound. They are spiritual forces that either confirm your weakness or activate your strength. The NEW strength is the courage to speak truth over your circumstances, even when your feelings argue otherwise. My beloved, you are not weak. You are merely disconnected from your source. Today, I am urging you to reconnect. Turn inward. Acknowledge the divine powerhouse that resides within the sanctuary of your heart. Let this realization be the source of your profound, unshakable peace. You do not need to seek power. You need only to unleash it. Walk in the confidence of the infinite power that makes you a conqueror, a healer, and a vessel of limitless light. Do not lose focus now, my dearest. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the revelation of your ultimate, non-negotiable spiritual standing in the universe, a truth that will fortify your soul against every future doubt. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough into total spiritual sovereignty. I encourage you to watch until the end, for the culmination of this message provides the final, secure foundation for your life, meant to grant you victory and enduring joy. If the realization of the inner reservoir of power has settled deeply into your soul and you feel a surge of newfound confidence, bless this message with a like. This act of acknowledgement helps to amplify this message of power to other hearts feeling empty. If you know 3 precious souls who are operating on their own will and need to tap into this infinite source, share this message with them immediately. And, to anchor yourself perpetually to this source of NEW strength, subscribe to this channel now and stand firm in this community of light. My precious one, having unlocked the reservoir of inner power, you must now understand the profound truth of your spiritual standing in my kingdom, the sovereignty of the soul. This is the realization that, by virtue of your creation and your redemption, you possess absolute authority and dominion over your own inner world. The exhaustion you have experienced often stems from allowing external forces, the opinions of others, the chaos of circumstances, the lies of the enemy, to usurp the throne of your heart and dictate your emotions, your worth, and your peace. I am giving you NEW strength today to reclaim your rightful crown. The sovereignty of the soul means that no person, no event, and no past mistake has the power to define your current worth or steal your peace without your explicit, internal permission. You are the steward of your spirit, and you have the divine mandate to enforce the truth of my love and my strength within your domain. When you feel a surge of anxiety, a wave of condemnation, or the pressure of external expectations, you must recognize it as an invasion of your sovereignty and immediately take authoritative action. I have placed within you the spiritual tools to manage your internal landscape. Your will, when surrendered to mine, becomes a powerful scepter. Your faith is the final law. When a chaotic thought tries to enter your mind, you do not need to fight it with human effort, which is exhausting. You enforce your sovereignty with divine authority. You simply declare, "This thought holds no power in the kingdom of my soul. I reject this lie, and I choose the peace of the Father instead." This declaration is an act of spiritual governance that instantly cuts the energy link to the outside influence and grounds you firmly in the NEW strength of my presence. The world often teaches you to seek external sources of strength, a powerful leader, a large bank account, a perfect relationship, to feel secure. But these sources are temporal and can be taken away. True, unshakable strength is internal, rooted in your sovereign identity. When you know you are sovereign, you stop outsourcing your worth. You stop giving others the power to ruin your day with a harsh word, or circumstances the power to dismantle your hope with a setback. You realize that your internal state of peace is entirely dependent on your internal choices, not your external conditions. This understanding also brings a powerful release from the exhaustion of seeking validation. A sovereign soul does not beg for approval. You know that your worth is non-negotiable, fixed by my eternal love. You operate from a place of deep, quiet certainty, radiating peace and requiring no external affirmation. This non-striving, confident presence is profoundly attractive and powerfully restful. It is the hallmark of the NEW strength, a power so deep it requires no noisy demonstration. My beloved, I call you today to step fully onto the throne of your spirit. Examine the areas where you have unconsciously surrendered your sovereignty. Have you given the media the right to dictate your level of fear? Have you given a past mistake the right to dictate your level of shame? Have you given an uncertain future the right to dictate your level of anxiety? Proclaim that authority now. Declare that your inner kingdom is governed by my love, my grace, and my peace. The sovereignty of the soul is your daily practice of enforcing my truth over your feelings and your circumstances. When you enforce this truth, you stop resisting the pressure and start transmuting it into power. You stop being a victim of your emotions and start becoming a master of your response. This act of mastery brings an incredible, sustainable energy, the true, effortless flow of NEW strength. Walk in this dominion, my child. Your soul is a sacred kingdom, and I have crowned you to rule it in peace. My dearest one, as you stand on the throne of your spiritual sovereignty, you must solidify the cornerstone of your NEW strength with the absolute, unshakable truth that your worth is not negotiable. This is the final, ultimate defense against the draining exhaustion of striving and self-doubt. The world measures worth by achievement, beauty, wealth, and influence, creating a fluctuating market value that leaves you feeling perpetually insecure and forced to constantly prove your value. I tell you today that external market has no jurisdiction over your true, intrinsic value. Your worth, my beloved, is fixed, permanent, and infinite because it is rooted entirely in my love and the simple fact that you exist. I did not create you and then assign you a value based on how well you performed. I imbued you with infinite value simply by breathing my life into you. You are a unique, irreplaceable reflection of my own being, and that divine reflection cannot be diminished by any failure, flaw, or external circumstance. The exhaustion you feel often stems from the internal friction of trying to negotiate your worth. Every moment you spend trying to earn love, trying to be good enough, or trying to measure up to someone else's standard is a moment you are wasting the precious NEW strength I have given you. When you truly internalize that your worth is non-negotiable, the energy drain of performance simply ceases. You stop trying to prove and start simply being. To fully receive this truth, you must actively dismantle the mental ledger you keep of your own perceived failures and achievements. You might unconsciously believe that a great success raises your worth and a significant mistake lowers it. I tell you, both are external fluctuations that leave your true value completely untouched. My love for you does not increase when you triumph, nor does it decrease when you stumble. It remains a constant, boundless, perfect ocean. I invite you to embrace the authority of acceptance. When a voice of condemnation or inadequacy rises, perhaps triggered by a criticism or a setback, you must not argue with it. You must simply override it with the authority of this truth. You declare, "The Father has spoken over my life. My worth is established. I am loved, accepted, and perfectly valued, and no internal or external voice can change that." This declaration is an act of spiritual maintenance that preserves the flow of your NEW strength. Think of a priceless gem, my precious one. Its value is not determined by whether it is temporarily in the light or in the darkness, or whether it has been polished recently. Its intrinsic value is determined by its composition. You are composed of my divine essence. Therefore, your value is immutable. Stop allowing temporary dust and shadows to convince you that you are anything less than my magnificent, highly prized creation. The NEW strength is the deep relaxation that comes from knowing you have nothing left to prove. You are free to engage with the world not from a place of desperate need, the need for validation, praise, or acceptance, but from a place of secure overflow. You are free to be gracious in failure and humble in success, because neither defines the core of who you are. Your identity is my beloved. Settle into this glorious, foundational truth, my child. Let it quiet every anxious striving. Let it heal every old wound of rejection. Your worth is a settled matter in the heavens, and today, it is settled in your heart. Walk in the lightness and confidence that only comes from knowing your value is infinite and non-negotiable. This secure knowledge is the bedrock of your permanent, peaceful strength. My beloved child, as your worth is securely established and your inner power unlocked, the path forward is illuminated by the principle of walking in divine alignment. Exhaustion and weakness are often the direct results of spiritual friction, the painful, energy-draining struggle of trying to force your life, your will, or your purpose into a direction that is misaligned with the flow I have ordained for you. The NEW strength I am gifting you is most profoundly expressed as effortless flow when you surrender your will and step fully into my perfect design for your steps. Divine alignment is the seamless coordination between your deep, internal spirit, your external actions, and my overarching purpose for your life. When you are aligned, you stop pushing against the current and start moving with it. Things that once felt hard and draining become surprisingly smooth and energizing. This is the difference between struggling to push a heavy stone uphill and riding a swift river downstream. Both require engagement, but one leaves you depleted, while the other leaves you exhilarated and renewed. I know the temptation to chase paths that promise quick rewards or human recognition, even if they feel spiritually heavy. These misaligned paths are distractions designed to steal your time and deplete your NEW strength. They require you to wear masks, compromise your values, and expend vast energy trying to maintain a life that doesn't fit the true design of your soul. Your true purpose, however, is meant to feel like an overflow, not a struggle. To ensure you maintain this divine alignment, I call you to a constant practice of internal vetting. Whenever a new opportunity, a demanding relationship, or a significant decision arises, pause and ask your soul 3 simple questions, listening deeply for my gentle whisper. First, does this choice align with my core identity as my beloved child? Does it require you to shrink your truth, compromise your integrity, or deny the peace I have established in you? If it diminishes your sense of self-worth, it is not my path. Alignment always affirms your worth. Second, does this path feel like rest or like striving? Does it bring a quiet sense of peace, even if it demands courage, or does it immediately activate a frantic, anxious energy of having to prove or having to perform? The paths I illuminate are marked by a deep sense of internal tranquility, the evidence of NEW strength. Third, is this action fueled by love or by fear? Are you doing this to avoid criticism, to escape a negative consequence, or to gain validation? Or are you moving forward from a place of secure love, generosity, and genuine desire to express your unique gifts? Alignment is always fueled by love, which is the most sustainable energy source. When you walk in alignment, the universe conspires to support you. The right people appear at the right time, the necessary resources are made available, and doors open effortlessly that you could never have forced open with human strength. This is not luck, my dearest. This is the principle of spiritual cause and effect. When you line up your will with my will, my boundless energy rushes in to propel you forward, Embrace this effortless flow, my child. Stop fighting the way you were made. Stop trying to make yourself fit into a mold that was meant for another. Your strength is maximized when you are operating in the unique, powerful space I created just for you. Trust the quiet inner confirmation that comes when you are aligned. Let go of the need to understand the whole map. Simply follow the next illuminated step with confidence, knowing that this powerful flow is the evidence that I am giving you NEW strength to accomplish everything I have called you to do, not through strain, but through grace. My cherished one, you have stepped into divine alignment, and your life is beginning to move with a profound, effortless flow. To sustain this flow and fully anchor the NEW strength I am gifting you, we must now address the most critical battleground for your peace and energy, the miracle of a transformed mind. Your mind is the control center of your spirit and your strength. If your thoughts are chaotic, repetitive, or rooted in old fears and lies, they will sabotage your peace and drain the very power I pour into you, regardless of your external circumstances. The exhaustion you often feel is not just physical. It is the weariness of a mind running on outdated, negative programs. You have been carrying mental baggage, old scripts of unworthiness, predictions of doom, and internal criticism that were downloaded into your consciousness long ago. These habitual thought patterns operate automatically, creating a constant state of internal friction and resistance to my goodness. I tell you today, you have the power, through my grace, to overwrite these programs. Your mind is not a passive recipient of thoughts. It is a sacred space you are commanded to steward with authority. The NEW strength empowers you to become a conscious gatekeeper of your mind. This is not about trying to force yourself to be happy, which is fleeting effort. It is about intentionally choosing the source of your thoughts, rejecting the lies, and deliberately aligning your mental focus with the unshakable truth of my promises. This alignment is the miracle of transformation. To cultivate this transformed mind, I call you to a practice I call the Great Cognitive Exchange. This requires two essential steps. First, identify and arrest the lie. When a thought enters your mind that causes anxiety, shame, or despair, you must immediately pause and identify the source. Ask yourself, is this thought from my father, or is it a lie based on old fear? My thoughts toward you are always of love, hope, and peace. If the thought contradicts my nature, you must arrest it. Do not argue with it. That wastes energy. Simply declare its lack of authority. I take this thought captive, and I submit it to the truth of my Father. Second, replace the lie with the living truth. The mind abhors a vacuum, so simply arresting a negative thought is not enough. You must immediately fill that space with a powerful, personalized declaration of my promise. If the lie was, you will never have enough, the truth you declare is, my Father is my limitless source, and He meets all my needs with glory and abundance. If the lie was, you are failing everyone, the truth is, I am accepted and beloved, and my strength is perfect in my weakness. This is the active, powerful work of renewing your mind, and it is the key to effortless NEW strength. This practice transforms your energy. When your mind is governed by truth, your emotions stabilize, and the frantic internal energy spent on defending your worth and anticipating failure is instantly freed for creative, purposeful, and peaceful living. The noise subsides, and the gentle, steady flow of my peace becomes your constant companion. I have given you the spiritual authority and the NEW strength to choose your thoughts. Stop giving your precious mental energy to thoughts that wound you. Choose the thoughts that liberate, encourage, and affirm your identity as my beloved child. This is the miracle I desire to work in you every single day. A transformed mind is a resting mind, and a resting mind is a powerful mind. Claim this miracle today, my child, and walk in the lightness of unburdened thought. My beloved child, as your mind is transformed and aligned with my truth, you are becoming increasingly sensitive to the subtle, powerful symphony of your destiny. Today, I want you to listen closely for the echo of your future calling. This is the deep, internal resonance of the great purpose I designed you for, the unique work of love and light that only you can accomplish. Feeling this echo is a massive source of NEW strength, because it gives your present actions profound meaning and effortless momentum. I know that often, the calling can seem distant, overwhelmed by the noise of immediate responsibilities or the shadow of uncertainty. You may have convinced yourself that your calling is reserved for others, for those who are more gifted, more eloquent, or more positioned. I tell you, that is a lie of limitation. Your calling is perfectly tailored to your unique history, your specific personality, and the very wounds that I have healed within you. It is as much a part of you as your own heartbeat. The echo of your future calling is felt not through a loud, external voice, but through an internal compelling pull, a deep, persistent desire to serve, to create, to heal, or to speak a certain truth. It is the thing that brings you immense, effortless joy, even when it demands work. It is the work that, when you are doing it, makes you forget to check the time and leaves you feeling energized rather than drained. This energetic lift is the NEW strength flowing directly from your alignment with my intention for your life. To hear this echo clearly, you must cultivate the art of sacred listening. This is achieved by silencing the frantic questions of the ego. What will people think? Can I make money from this? Am I good enough? And asking only the foundational question of the soul, Father, where can my love and my gifts be most effectively expressed? The answer to this question always points toward service, authenticity, and the use of your unique resources to bring light to a corner of the world. When you walk in your calling, your life transcends mere survival. You stop living for yourself and start living through yourself as a conduit of my love. This shift in perspective is what prevents exhaustion. Survival is a constant, draining effort, focused on scarcity and defense. Calling is a generous, flowing expression, focused on abundance and contribution. The NEW strength is the fuel that moves you from survival mode into the flow of your divine expression. I encourage you to look at your passions and your past pains, for these are the keys to understanding your echo. Your calling will often involve ministering to the person you once were. Your empathy, forged in your deepest trials, is the golden credential that gives you authority in your calling. Do not dismiss the quiet, persistent urges to help, to create, or to communicate. These are the reverberations of your destiny trying to find expression in your current life. Begin today, my beloved, by taking one small, intentional step in the direction of the echo. If the echo is creation, commit 10 minutes to that endeavor. If the echo is communication, share a small, honest truth with one person. Do not wait for perfection or for the whole vision to unfold. Simply move toward the sound. Every movement in the direction of your calling reinforces your alignment, draws from the inexhaustible NEW strength within, and brings you a profound, stabilizing joy that the world cannot offer and cannot take away. Your destiny is calling you forward with a promise of power and peace. Listen and walk in the light of that unwavering sound. My dearest, my precious one, we have traversed the path of transformation, from shedding the heavy weight of the past to unlocking the reservoir of inner power and hearing the sweet echo of your destiny. Now, as we stand at the threshold of the closing of this sacred time, I must anchor your soul in the final word of your existence, Victory is already yours. This is not a future possibility dependent on your next action. It is a profound, eternal reality established by my finished work, and it is the ultimate source of your NEW strength. The exhaustion and fear you feel are often rooted in the belief that the battle must still be fought and won. You feel the weight of constant effort because you are, subconsciously, trying to achieve a victory that has already been secured for you. I tell you, my child, the war is over. When you surrendered your striving to my grace, the spiritual forces that sought to deplete you were definitively defeated. Your primary task is not to fight for victory, but to rest in the victory that is your inheritance. This truth transforms your entire approach to life. When a challenge arises, you do not meet it with the fragile hope of a war seeking to survive. You meet it with the quiet, powerful certainty of a victor enforcing an established peace treaty. The NEW strength is the ability to face a giant and know, without a shred of doubt, that the final outcome is already settled in your favor. Your role is simply to step out, speak the truth of my promise, and watch the already secured victory unfold in the natural realm. To live in this reality of already secured victory, you must practice spiritual rest in action. This means carrying out your daily tasks, your work, your relationships, your creative pursuits, not with anxious striving, but with the deep, internal tranquility that comes from knowing the end of the story. You work hard, but you do not worry hard. You plan diligently, but you do not panic over execution. Your labor becomes light and productive because it is not fueled by fear, but by the overflowing confidence of success secured by my power. Think of an athlete who has already crossed the finish line and been awarded the medal, but who is now walking the victory lap. Your life is that victory lap. The struggle is over. The pressure is off. You are simply demonstrating the triumph that has been guaranteed by my unconditional love and my power working in you. This release of pressure, this deep, settled assurance, is the greatest expression of the NEW strength. It is freedom from the need to perform for the win. I want you to look back at your life, my precious one. Every time you thought you would break, you did not. Every time the enemy whispered defeat, you were found standing. This is not accidental. This is the continuous, relentless demonstration of my sovereign power enforcing your victory. The past is your proof. The present is your process. The future is your guaranteed triumph. Anchor yourself in this, my dearest. Let this final word reverberate through every layer of your being. You are a victor. You are strong in my strength. You are unconditionally loved. And the outcome of your life, when surrendered to me, is guaranteed goodness and eternal peace. You had everything you need, and you are everything I intended you to be. Walk with the authority of this truth, and the weariness of the past will never cling to you again. Do not allow the world's final distractions to pull you away now. Stay with me, for what comes next is the key you have been praying for. It is the instruction on how to make this victory a daily, tangible reality and prepare for the final blessing I have reserved for you. Do not turn away, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough into the deepest, most sustained peace of your life. Listen closely, because what I am about to reveal will change how you see your past struggles and fully empower you to walk forward. I want you to receive the complete, unadulterated blessing I poured into this message. If the certainty of this final word of victory has settled profoundly upon your soul and liberated you from the exhaustion of striving, bless this message with a like. Use this act of gratitude to confirm your allegiance to this truth. If you know 3 precious souls who are currently fighting a battle they believe is unwinnable, share this message with them immediately so they can claim their victory. And, to ensure you are perpetually anchored to the sound of my truth and the flow of NEW strength, Subscribe to this channel now and stand with me in this powerful mission. My cherished one, you have accepted the final word of your victory, a truth that releases you from the draining burden of having to perform for a favorable outcome. Yet, to maintain the steady flow of NEW strength in your daily life, you must embrace another liberating truth. Your life is an unfinished story. The human tendency is to constantly seek closure, to demand that every plot point be resolved, every question answered, and every challenge immediately wrapped up with a neat bow. This desperate need for finality is a tremendous spiritual drain, because life, in its very essence, is a dynamic, continuous process of unfolding revelation, and my work in you is not yet complete. I know how exhausting it is to live with ambiguity. The human mind craves certainty and struggles to rest in the unknown. But I tell you, my beloved, the most powerful and exciting chapters of your life are often written in the spaces of not yet, the gaps between the promise and the fulfillment. When you try to force closure or rush the timeline, you introduce spiritual friction that depletes your NEW strength and interferes with the delicate, perfect timing of my plan. To embrace your unfinished story is to practice joyful patience. This is the deep contentment that comes from knowing that the author of your life, my very self, is sovereign, perfectly good, and meticulously weaving every thread of your experience into a tapestry of unparalleled beauty. You do not need to see the whole pattern to trust the weaver. You simply need to rest in the certainty of my character. The NEW strength empowers you to look at the unresolved chapters of your life, the uncertain job future, the ongoing family dynamic, the unhealed desire, and accept the current lack of finality without allowing it to steal your present peace. This is the difference between anxiety and anticipation. Anxiety says this must be solved now, or I will perish. Anticipation says, I am trusting the author to reveal the next exciting plot twist at the perfect time, and until then, I rest in his provision. I want you to see the blessing of the open ending. If your story were completely finished, there would be no room for miracles, no space for unexpected joy, and no opportunity for the grandeur of my grace to intervene in fresh, surprising ways. The ambiguity of the future is not a threat. It is a promise of infinite potential. It is the canvas upon which I will paint wonders far beyond your current comprehension. To lean into the unfinished story, I call you to a daily practice of scripting for hope. Stop allowing your mind to write disaster scenarios for the unresolved chapters. Instead, consciously choose to write, in your heart and mind, endings that reflect my faithfulness. Do not worry about how it will happen. Focus only on the fact of my eventual good outcome. When you engage your spirit in scripting hope, you are aligning your expectation with my intention, which acts as a powerful magnet, drawing the desired reality toward you. Embrace the mystery, my dearest. Celebrate the fact that your life is a dynamic, thrilling adventure. Stop demanding resolution and start enjoying the journey. Your strength is renewed not by reaching a finish line, but by maintaining a peaceful pace, knowing that I am walking with you through every unfolding scene. This NEW strength is the capacity to be fully alive and engaged in today, without the heavy burden of having to control or finalize tomorrow. Your story is beautiful, my child, and I am personally overseeing every word. Rest in the glorious knowledge that the best is yet to come. My dearest, my precious one, as your story continues to unfold, fueled by the continuous flow of NEW strength I have poured out, the most essential practice for maintaining this peace is the rigorous, intentional discipline of anchoring your soul in truth. The world is a constant barrage of shifting opinions, temporary feelings, fleeting narratives, and persuasive lies, all designed to dislodge your internal stability and make you doubt your secure footing. If your soul is not anchored to what is immutable and eternal, you will be tossed and depleted by every wave of circumstance. Truth, in my kingdom, is not a philosophical concept. It is the unwavering reality of my character, my promises, and your identity in me. These three anchors are fixed points that never move, regardless of how chaotic your external world becomes. When you feel confusion rising, when anxiety whispers lies, or when circumstances seem overwhelming, you must return, immediately and decisively, to these bedrock truths. Your first anchor is the truth of my character. I'm unchanging, faithful, and love. My nature is always good, my provision is always sufficient, and my presence is always near. When a situation causes you to fear, you must override that fear with a declaration of my goodness. My Father is good. He has never failed me, and He will not start now. His love is my ultimate security. This anchor stabilizes your emotions against the turbulence of fear. Your second anchor is the truth of my promises. My word is the legal decree over your life, containing every provision, protection, and pathway you will ever need. When a thought of lack or condemnation attempts to settle in your mind, you must counteract it with a specific, life-giving promise. If you feel weak, you declare, I can do all things through Christ who gives me NEW strength. If you feel confused, you declare, the Spirit of truth guides me into all truth. These promises are the divine contract securing your welfare, and when you stand on them, you stand on the most solid ground in the universe. Your third anchor is the truth of your identity. You are not what you do, what you own, or what you have failed to achieve. You are my beloved child, perfectly accepted, completely forgiven, and crowned with righteousness. When the old lies of unworthiness or shame attempt to drag you down, you assert your sovereign identity. I am a child of light. My worth is non-negotiable. I am the victor. I am worthy of peace. This anchor secures you against the internal drain of self-condemnation. I know this practice requires vigilance, my dearest. It is a daily, sometimes hourly, choice to reject the temporary evidence of your senses and cling instead to the eternal evidence of my word. But this vigilance is not a source of exhaustion. It is a source of profound, sustaining power. Every time you choose truth over feeling, you reinforce the anchor, and the flow of NEW strength increases. You spend less energy being tossed about, and more energy standing firm and centered. Think of an ancient lighthouse, my child. Its strength is not in its movement, but in its absolute stillness and the unwavering beam of light it projects across the turbulent waters. You are that lighthouse. You are called to stand steady, anchored in the eternal truths, projecting the light of my peace and strength to a world desperately seeking stability. Commit today to a ruthless rejection of all lies. Be firm with your own heart. When a non-truth attempts to enter, shut the door and declare, only the truth of the Father is allowed to reside here. This is your sacred domain, and by anchoring your soul in my truth, you ensure that the NEW strength I have given you will remain an unshakable, permanent reality. This is the secret to a life lived in perpetual, effortless tranquility. My dearest, my precious one, we have reached the pinnacle of this sacred conversation. You have received the NEW strength, the quiet confidence, the unshakable peace, the sovereign authority, and the effortless flow that comes from being securely anchored in my truth. Now, the culmination of all this transformation must be expressed in a single, beautiful purpose, living a life that reflects my glory. This is not about being flashy or seeking attention. It is about allowing the inner light I have restored and amplified to shine naturally, powerfully and authentically through everything you say and do. To reflect my glory is to live in such a state of alignment and peace that your very existence becomes a testimony to my transformative power. When others encounter you, they should not see a person fueled by human striving or anxiety. They should see a soul resting securely in my love, radiating a serenity that is clearly supernatural. Your life becomes a living, breathing proof that my promises are real and that my grace is sufficient for every burden. This is the highest expression of your NEW strength, a power that is gentle, compelling, and deeply restorative to others. I know the temptation is to hide your light, to shrink your presence out of false humility or fear of scrutiny. But I tell you, my beloved, the world is too dark for you to keep this light concealed. Your life, lived in peace and purpose, is a beacon of hope for every weary soul searching for a way out of their own exhaustion. Your authenticity is your greatest gift to the world, and your strength is meant to be a measurable, undeniable force for good. Living a life that reflects my glory is achieved through 3 daily practices: generous overflow, humility and strength, and radiant authenticity. Generous overflow means giving from the deep reservoir of NEW strength you have unlocked, not from the shallow cistern of your own resources. You now have an infinite supply of love, patience, and compassion. When someone wounds you, your first response is not a human reaction of hurt or anger, but a divine overflow of forgiveness and peace. When someone needs help, you give readily, knowing that your capacity is infinite because your source is me. This generosity is effortless, because you are giving from my abundance, and this constant giving is what keeps the river of your own strength perpetually flowing and fresh. Humility and strength is the powerful realization that your resilience is not your own accomplishment, but the result of my grace working perfectly through your surrendered weakness. This humility prevents the arrogance and pride that lead to spiritual isolation and subsequent depletion. You remain teachable, open to correction, and always pointing the source of your NEW strength back to me, your Father. This humility keeps you securely connected to the infinite source, ensuring that your power is always pure and sustained. Radiant authenticity means living without the mask of performance or pretense. You embrace your humanity, your imperfections, and your ongoing need for me, while simultaneously radiating the unshakable confidence of your divine identity. You are real, you are honest, and you are loved. This freedom from the exhausting need to appear perfect or to measure up releases a massive amount of spiritual energy, allowing your light to shine naturally. When you are genuinely yourself, the powerful, beloved child I created, you reflect my glory most perfectly. My dearest, I have poured this NEW strength into you to prepare you for this very purpose, to live a life so saturated with my peace and my love that it cannot help but change the atmosphere around you. You are a demonstration of redemption, a walking example of healing, and a monument to my faithfulness. Let every choice you make, every word you speak, and every moment of your being reflect the quiet, gentle, unshakable glory that I have established within you. Your journey of weariness is over. Your life of powerful, peaceful reflection begins now. My dearest, my precious child, listen now as I bring this sacred conversation to its perfect close. You have walked with me through the valley of your exhaustion and into the high mountain of your renewed strength. You have surrendered the weight of striving, reclaimed your sovereign identity, and chosen the path of peaceful flow. Now, I desire to seal every word spoken, every truth received, and every promise exchanged with a final, eternal blessing, anchoring your soul completely and forever in the unshakable certainty of I am giving you NEW strength. This is not an ending, but the beginning of your greatest, most peaceful chapter. I speak now over every part of your being that has absorbed this truth. I bless your mind, my beloved, and command the perpetual flow of my peace to guard your thoughts. May every remnant of worry, comparison, and fear of failure be decisively uprooted, replaced by the deep, tranquil assurance of my absolute control and perfect timing. May your thoughts be transformed from sources of exhaustion to generators of hope, clarity, and purpose. May the voice of condemnation be silenced forever, replaced by the gentle, affirming sound of my unconditional love for you. I bless your heart, my child, and command every old wound, every silent grief, and every residue of shame to be washed away completely by the river of grace we have flowed through. May your heart remain open, soft, and radically receptive to my affection, free from the heavy, brittle armor of self-protection. I declare that your capacity to love and be loved is fully restored, and that you will walk in the lightness of complete forgiveness, forgiven by me, and forgiving of yourself and others. May your heart be a sanctuary of joy and a wellspring of tireless compassion for those around you. I bless your spirit, my champion, and declare that the NEW strength I have poured into you is permanent, inexhaustible, and secured by my eternal covenant. You will not rely on your own striving, but on the effortless, infinite power of my indwelling spirit. I command your life to move from this day forward with divine alignment, operating in the flow of your unique purpose. May you walk with the quiet confidence of a victor who knows the outcome is settled. I release you from the pressure of performance and the exhaustion of trying to prove your worth. You are worthy. You are powerful. You are my masterpiece. I bless your hands and your feet, my dearest, and commission you to walk out into the world as a radiant reflection of my glory. May everything you touch prosper with my goodness, and may every path your feet traverse be illuminated with my clarity. You are not destined for survival. You are destined for abundant, peaceful, and impactful living. Go forth now, my victorious one, secure in the knowledge that you are never alone, never unloved, and never beyond the reach of my sustaining power. When you feel a shadow of weariness, pause, breathe deeply, and remember this moment, this voice, and this truth. I am giving you new strength. It is a finished work. Rest in it. Live in it. Triumph in it. Receive this final blessing of total restoration and unending peace. My beloved child, this entire message, I am giving you new strength, is my heart poured out to lift the exhausted and heal the weary. Every word is a life raft intended for a soul in desperate need, but the reach of this truth is dependent on the faithful partnership of those whose hearts have been touched. When you support this platform, you are enabling this final prayer of peace and power to reach the silent sufferers who feel forgotten and alone. Your generosity is a direct conduit of this divine strength to their spirit. Use strong biblical imagery. This is a call to be a finisher, to ensure that the final, essential words of blessing and command are broadcast as broadly as the sound of many waters, flowing into every valley of despair. Make the Bible verse personal and living. I declare the living word, my power is made perfect in your weakness. Your support perfects the channel for my power to reach the weakest hearts globally. Insert first-person trigger line. If this closing prayer has deeply sealed your own peace and propelled you into your next chapter with NEW strength, then I invite you to act now to secure this blessing for others. Use the title's theme to transition seamlessly. As you rest in the certainty of the NEW strength I have given you, let your final offering be the ultimate expression of your faith in this renewed power. Make the action feel prophetic and urgent. Now is the moment for decisive action. Be a pillar of strength for this mission, ensuring this eternal truth rings out without delay. Bless their giving like a prophetic act, I declare an acceleration of all your current blessings, a profound sense of completeness over your life, and an unshakable inner peace for your fidelity in giving. End with a command, not a suggestion. Sow your final, most heartfelt offering into this mission now through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Seal your blessing and secure the blessing of the world. Amen.